What up, Clipper Nation? It is Clippers Talk. I'm Adam Osland, as I think we're on here, although I'm not hearing anything yet, even when I should be. Is it? Is it me? Is it me? Am I the problem here? What is the problem here? Come on. Come on. Sapphire. Is that the name of this thing? No, the Scarlet sound card here. Oh, I know where it is. Boom, boom. We're good. I can hear myself now. Hello, Mark. Hi, Mark. Oh, hi, Mark. Any Room fans out there? Have you seen it at Sunset Boulevard when they're showing the movie on 5 different theaters and Tommy Wiseau was in attendance? Maybe not of sound mind. You guys hear me? We're good. It's Clippers Talk. I'm Adam Osland. Kawhi Leonard. Full contact practice edition of Clippers Talk. Let's hear from Coach Lue at practice today talking about Kawhi Leonard. Gosh damn it. And it's a commercial right away. One more time. Let's hear from Kawhi Leonard. Full contact practice audio from Coach Lue.
Assessment go yesterday. On Monday, you said he was going to be reassessed on Tuesday.
Well, he practiced today, 5-on-5 with contact. So, good seeing him out there doing that. Came out good. And so, just, continue the process and make sure we're checking every box before he returns the club.
Did you travel with you? Is he going to travel with you
He's
guys?
going to travel, yes.
Do you
He
anticipate?
will not play on this trip.
Okay. When do you anticipate that he might do?
He will travel, but he will not play on this 3-game road trip. But he will travel with them.
You said he's doing 5-on-5 full contact. How long do you guys want to see him do that and check that box before he is ready to play?
I'm not sure.
Is the idea of traveling so you guys can get? Will you guys try to practice because
So still not sure when he'll be able to play.
you have those days off in between and
Yes,
get a
sir.
chance to do some more practicing?
Yes, sir.
What do you
Practicing with the team while they're out on the road, hence why he is traveling with them.
want to see doing that time? Any idea? Just to
Just
make sure
same thing, just progressing, just keep checking the boxes, making sure that, when he gets done, with the 5-on-5, with the contact, making sure he doesn't have any swelling, make sure he doesn't have any setbacks. So, and he can get a lot of rehab and stuff done on the road.
Seems important. Checking boxes. We'll be checking in with him, see if there's any swelling, any setbacks, things that have been my concern going back to April.
Our team, so that's why he's making the trip.
Do you see him feeling more excited about this? It's hard to tell because he plays Kawhi.
Yeah.
But do you see that?
Yeah, I can see him, getting more excited, and like I said, he's been putting in, a lot of work to get to this point. And so, today to do 5-on-5 with contact was a huge step for him. And so, like I said, just got to keep doing what we're doing right now. The medical staff has been great. He's been great at putting in the work. And so now we just got to continue to keep building off of it.
When he does come back, do you expect him to slot right back into a starting lineup, or will it be like a couple years ago when you brought him off the bench initially?
I'm not sure yet.
Is he going to be on a minutes restriction?
Oh, you know that. Yeah,
I got to ask.
I mean, at some point, we got to be smart about it. And so, he definitely be on a minute restriction.
What you said you want to bring him back at 100%. Would you say he's at 100% right now? The fact that he's able to fully participate at the level that he has.
Yeah, he feels good, and so we just got to make sure he continues to
I want
feel
to hear
good.
that one more time. I
I
want to hear that one more time.
The staff has been great. He's been great at putting in the work. So now we just got to continue to keep building off of it.
When he does come back, do you expect him to slot right back into a starting lineup, or will it be like a couple years ago when you brought him off the bench initially?
I'm not sure yet.
Is he going to be on a minutes restriction?
Oh, you know that. Yeah,
I got to ask.
He'll be on a minutes restriction when he comes back. They don't know if he'll be coming off the bench like he did when he first came back off the ACL. I find that highly doubtful.
At some point, we got to be smart about it. And so, he definitely be on a minute restriction.
What You said you want to bring him back at 100%. Would you say he's at 100% right now? The fact that he's able to fully participate at the level that he has.
Yeah, he feels good, and so we just got to make sure he continues to feel good. We don't want a thing where it's 1 or 2 days and then it's back to where we was at. So that's why we're taking the process slow. That's why we're doing it.
So would you say he's at 100% right now? The fact that he's able to fully participate at the level that he has.
Yeah, he feels good.
He said, yeah. To if he's at 100% right now.
And so we just got to make sure he continues to feel good. We don't want a thing where it's 1 or 2 days and then it's back to where we was at. So that's why we're taking the process slow. That's why we're doing it the right way. And he does feel good, And so just got to make sure we can do it for long enough to check all these boxes, make sure the process is right before we just throw him out there on the floor.
So it's exactly what I thought the entire time. Like, do these activities, see how his knee responds. He feels good now. See how he feels in a couple of days here.
The rest of the team, is everybody else that played Monday able to practice? Anybody come back to practice that hasn't?
Yeah, DJ came back to a little bit of the practice. He didn't finish the scrimmage part of it though. But he's ahead of schedule. He's feeling good. And so.
Oh, okay. Derrick Jones Jr. came back to a little bit of practice, didn't finish the scrimmage part, but is feeling better and is ahead of schedule. Derrick Jones Jr. ahead of schedule. Big news.
So, we don't know about the game yet, but he's feeling good.
How's Kobe doing?
We don't know about the game yet, but he's feeling good. That's good. What about Kobe Brown?
Didn't practice today, no. But he did some stuff on the court, full court, running for the first time, shooting. I saw him get a couple dunks or whatever, so he's feeling better and he's progressing well.
DJ's sort of one of those players whose stat line doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. Where do you feel like you missed him over these last few games?
Just definitely defensively.
Mm-hmm.
I think, with him and KD on the floor together, you have 2 shutdown corners. And so having those 2 guys on the floor together, like our defensive rating is sky high, so we miss him a lot. But he got career highs in everything, I think, in his career, 3-point percentage, field goal percentage, free throw percentage. So he's been doing a good job putting in the work every day with Jay Larranaga and continue to keep getting better.
A couple of days ago, Chris was in the locker room post game talking to a couple of the San Diego Clippers guys. How cool has it been to have a guy like him who came up was part of this G League program and then is now playing such a prominent role for you guys at the NBA level?
Yeah, it's huge. To be a lottery pick and to go through what he went through to get back to where he's at, it just says a lot about him. About his work ethic, who he is as a person and his character. And so it was a tough grind for him, but, him being here was a big reason why we're, 15-12 right now because of what he does defensively, every single night, guarding the best player. And then offensively, be able to run our stuff and get us into our sets.
How exciting is that Kawhi-Chris duo going to be defensively for you?
And DJ, very excited. Yeah.
Kawhi, Chris Dunn, and DJ defensively, yes.
How's Terrence been progressing from his injury and stuff? Like, has he been able to do anything yet?
He got on the court. I saw him on the court today, shooting and doing some ball handling stuff.
Terrence Mann was on the court shooting, doing some ball handling stuff.
So, I don't know.
Does this feel like a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel? All these guys that look like they're about to end up returning for you?
Yeah, it does. Once we get T-Man up to speed and, he's been continuing to do his rehab, but seeing him on the court today was really good to see, DJ coming back soon, Kawhi coming back soon. So just, seeing those guys on the floor making progress. But like I said, it couldn't come at a better time, just having 3 games in
like 11 days or something.
Yeah, so that's huge for us after playing, every day or every other day for the whole month of November. So it was good timing.
That's what we've been talking about. If you're going to have injuries, now is the time to have them because they're playing less games right now. So guys are overall going to miss less time.
Do you feel like guys are rejuvenated with all the time off and stuff? Like when you see it on the court?
Yeah, I do think so. And then, with the Kawhi being on the floor practicing, when he was going through the drills the first day he was on the floor, just, having him on the floor rejuvenated us as well.
Were you able to see any of the NBA Cup championship last night?
No.
Have you been able to catch up with Doc about?
Yeah, I talked to Doc.
How did you feel about that?
Feels good. Yeah, him and Rex. I talked to him, Rex, and D-Ham. Told him congratulations. And, but yeah, it's an exciting moment, especially for a team that struggled early on out the gate and then turned it around and to play the way they've been playing as of late. Just says a lot, about Doc as a coach. It says a lot about their team, their leadership with Dame and Giannis to be able to, hold the fort down and, until they was able to get on track, which they've done right now.
2 minutes left of Coach Lue audio from earlier today at practice, and then Big Chuck Mockler is in here, guys. as I got to make sure I can actually make this work. This sound card thing, very, very difficult for me.
See the commissioner's comment about the 3-point shooting, how it needs to be addressed. Have you seen what he said?
Addressed.
I guess copycat league, everybody just shoot threes a lot. He's in a committee of wondering what they should talk about that, how that should be.
He said they're taking too many threes?
He didn't say too many threes, but he just was wondering if they should more or less have conversation about it and how good that is for the league.
Well,
I mean, that's where we are now, right?
yeah, I mean, no, whatever he says is probably right. You know, like I said, I follow his lead in everything we do.
But when you played with Shaq and then you played with Cole, that was not the way the game was played then.
Yeah, I mean,
Now it is. It's changed since
Sorry, the game has gotten way more efficient now. I'm sorry.
even you coached
but
early on, right?
yeah, you just take threes, most time bad threes, and everybody just crash. Yeah, it's basketball. Yeah, that's the new basketball right now, you know. But it's a copycat league. Everyone tries to do the same thing, you know. But if you don't have the personnel to do that, you know, I don't know if you should play that style of basketball, you know. So, you know, whatever's good for the league, I'm pretty sure that, you know, a lot of great coaches in the league can adjust and play any certain style that you want, that you need to play. And so we've seen this time and time again throughout the course of the NBA. Since I've been in the NBA, coaches have been able to adjust and play the style you need to play.
Just piggybacking off of that, because one of the biggest things y'all maybe don't have as much this year than compared to previous years is that second level at mid-range. Like, how does Kawhi kind of help that part of what he does so well complement the rest of your offense?
Lob Murray, great question.
You know, he's definitely wanting to get to his spots and loves operating in the mid-range. But like I say, you know, last year he shot a lot more threes, you know, and so just be able to pick and choose, you know, when you're going to take the shot. I think taking up the defense gives you, you know, a lot of teams, most of the time, are playing in a deep drop. And so I don't have a problem at all with the mid-range. We talked to James a lot about, you know, taking that mid-range shot because that's what the defense is giving.
He's making half of them this year.
He's made half of them?
Yeah.
No way.
He ain't got that many.
No, okay, he might be 2 for 4 then. I want him to shoot like
Not taking a lot of them, but
Yeah.
he's made half of the non-paint twos.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let's get some more up there.
You guys haven't played.
Coach, man, tell him to do that.
I've been telling.
They're not listening to you?
Say
I
facts.
guess not.
Facts.
He was working on it today. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see.
This is the first time you guys have played Dallas since the playoffs. Do you view these two games and also the Memphis game? Do you view them as little litmus tests to see where you guys are at this point in the season with all these days off?
No, not yet. You know, we're not a finished product, like I said, until, you know, we're able to get Kawhi back, get guys healthy, and kind of go from there. Just kind of see who we are, who we're going to be as a team. I think it's going to take some time. Like I said, J. Kidd got this team playing at a high level. They're playing good basketball. So for us to go in, you know, in these next 2 games and just, you know, compete at a high level like we've been doing defensively every single night, and just go from there.
There was Coach Lue about an hour earlier today at practice. And now, join the show. He already got the live out on the Clips and Dip side. We got Big Chuck Mockler in here. Charles, can you hear me all right? Am I coming
I
through?
can hear you great. Can you hear me?
I got you. Thanks
Let's
for
go.
doing this. We just heard from Coach Lue. To me, I think what this is saying today is with Kawhi going on the road trip, continuing to practice with the team, if he doesn't have a setback between now and that game against Golden State, he's playing on the 27th, Charles. What say you?
Yeah. I mean, I told people, like, circle it maybe in pencil or erasable pen on your calendar, but that is a perfect game timeline-wise for him to come back, and opponent-wise. You look at the 3 games the Clippers have on the after the 27th, it's like the Warrior. It's 3 bad teams. It's the Warriors, who they match up well with, and then it's the Pelicans, and then it's the Spurs. I love it. I hope he comes back on the 27th. I think it's a great spot. We still have to see, you know, how he reacts to practice on the road, which I think it's great that he's going on the road, obviously. But no, the smoke is pointing towards the 27th. Even Law Murray tweeted out a couple minutes ago, like, everything seems like it's pointing towards the 27th. Like, it's probably going to be the 27th.
as long as there's no setback, as long as there's no swelling, and even Coach Lue, to a question from La Murray, admitted that, yeah, he's 100%, but they have to see if he can stay there over the next couple of days and see how he responds to going through his first full contact practice now. Now it's that waiting game just to see how the right knee responds. That's how I interpreted it.
Totally. I mean, this goes to everything we've heard from Law, from a lot of the podcasts of there's still, but like the boxes are still being checked. The big boxes have been checked, but there's a lot of little ones like how's he going to react after today? How's it going to look when they're on the plane, right? That's been an issue with his knee before, after they've landed and stuff like that. So we just got to hope it's trending in the right direction, but it certainly seems like they've taken all the right steps so far to get him back healthy, and it feels like it's going to be the 27th.
I don't know. Triple J, I don't know if this is Jaren Jackson Jr., but he said, I really think the 27th isn't happening. Why would it not happen? The only reason would be if there's a setback, and nobody wants to predict that. Nobody wants to say that. Come on. We're all hoping for the best. Is it concerning? Yeah, that you just go through this waiting period, just kind of wait and see. And as you mentioned, the altitude, some guys, they don't fly after they have an injury because they're worried about that. But I would say that's even more encouraging news when they know he's not practicing on this road trip, but we still feel good about him flying. Like, we're okay with that because we want to make sure he's practicing with the team still on the road and they can build up that chemistry together. It's important that even though he's not playing in those games, he can still be out there on the court with his teammates going through practices, as they do have some days off in between games on this 3-game roadie.
Yeah, and it's just getting him back to the routine, right, of going out on the road and getting back, your body getting back to, now we're practicing, now we're traveling, all this stuff. It's great for team chemistry. Not that team chemistry is bad right now or anything like that. Everything, it seems like it just keeps going up. So this is going, and I know this is a crazy thing to say as a Clippers fan, this is going as well as it could possibly go. Kind of all things considered, right? We got good news about Derrick Jones Jr. Terrence Mann, Law said he's probably back around like that December 27th point. Like, everything for the first time in what feels like a while seemingly is going to plan for the Clippers. Knock on wood.
Of course, when you say that, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Wow, you got props on Clippers stock. Okay.
And they are New Balances that I have here.
Sure.
Because they have the extra wide foot option for people like me. Everybody talks about having feet too big. What about feet too wide? Who's going to accommodate us, man? There's dozens of us. People are in the chat here talking about it. Triple J said, sorry to be a downer. Being a Clippers fan has beaten me into a pessimist. I understand the pessimism, the cynicism. You guys know, going back to April, I have felt like this is something Kawhi Leonard might have to deal with the rest of his career. He basically admitted that. If they don't handle it correctly at media day, that it could be something they just have to manage from here on out. So it's always going to be a concern after each and every game, because, Charles, people are talking about last night. I'm doing a show. They're talking about all these trades, and it's like, guys, shouldn't we see if Kawhi Leonard can stay healthy first before we give up more assets for guys that could help put us over the top, when the main guy that's going to put you over the top has to stay healthy in the first place in Kawhi? And last season, there was no indication that all of a sudden his knee was going to swell up. Mm-hmm. He played great that last game before they went to Sacramento, and apparently it swelled up. Against Charlotte, he looked awesome out there. He was moving really well. So you really are going to be on pins and needles the entire time. Just get used to it. Get comfortable being uncomfortable with Kawhi Leonard and these reports. And just because you look good in the game doesn't mean it's always going to respond well over the next couple of days.
Yeah, I think, well, John Collins didn't even have that good of a game against us, so I'm surprised you were getting trade ideas. But the trade thing, you're totally right. The guy who's going to put this team over the top, it's not like the Clippers have been lighting the league on fire. They're playing very well, all things considered. It is Kawhi Leonard. Like, we're not trading any, no one's also that valuable on the Clippers, aside from like Norm and Zubats are the highest valued trade guys. And I don't like that. There's not a big trade coming. There shouldn't be a big trade. The front office has made it pretty clear. This year's all about instilling the defensive mentality, which they have. That's been on display from game one to where we're at now. seeing how they can kind of build this base, and then the books open up after next season. Like that,
Yeah.
we're on a great path for that, because now we're going to be a team who, if all of this carries over to next season, we have that mentality, we have the system, we're playing above our weight salary-wise, right? And then we have open books, which means it's in a much more attractive place to come than it would be if we were punching down or making these. I think a big trade would be very short-sighted by this front office. So again, it's all going to plan. Let's just let it go to plan. Let's just let it go where it needs to go.
For some reason last night, it wasn't even about John Collins. It was Zach LaVine's name, who I think somebody misinterpreted as being in Clippers trade discussions, because there was a report yesterday that the Denver Nuggets were interested in him. And then there was some faulty reporting going on earlier today.
Yeah, thank you, Bomani Jones. He screwed me on that one. I love Bomani Jones. But.
To be fair, I clicked on it as well at first and was like, holy crap. Shams Charania just dropped a bomb. And then you see that Shams only had 7,000 followers. So I don't think that was the real guy.
Not the real guy.
But that is something being discussed with the Denver Nuggets, not the Clippers. Going back to last offseason, this past summer, we talked about it a ton. Zach LaVine, would you want him if the Chicago Bulls were dangling that first-round pick allegedly out there just to try to get off of his contract? But what people are still not realizing is he's likely going to be signed through the summer of 2026. So all that cap room is going to be taken up by Zach LaVine, who's injury-prone, and I don't know why you'd even want to trade Norman Powell for him at this point. I'd rather have Norman Powell in his contract over Zach LaVine in his. Norm has been giving you better production on the season.
Norm's been giving us better production for a lot less money. And who's on the team after we do the salary fill for Zach LaVine? We love this team because of the depth, right? Like who is coming in? So say Zach LaVine gets hurt when he's on the Clippers, because what else would happen if we were to trade a haul for Zach LaVine? Like, hey, then Jordan Miller would get some minutes, but then the team would be bad. It would not be as good. We wouldn't. That's not a knock on Jordan Miller. That's just a knock on the depth we have. Like, it just wouldn't. It would just be short-sighted. It would be such a big swing when they can just wait. And I know fans don't like that. I understand that. But again, it's going as well as we could have wanted it to. Making a trade for an injury-prone star, just count me out. And we get our picks back soon-ish. It'll just be fine.
What do you think about this idea from Luis Lemus, who has been notoriously a Kawhi hater in here for a long time and always saying trade him and some ridiculous things? But right now he's saying Clippers need to play Kawhi one game per week until the playoffs. I have said before, I'm pretty much open to anything at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know about 1 game a week, but 2 games a week max could be something that is, reasonable considering his injury history.
I mean, you look at their January schedule is kind of jam-packed, right? They have a game on the 2nd, 4th, 6th, and 8th. And then they have a back-to-back on the 15th and 16th with 2 games in between that. I don't think he's going to play back-to-backs. I don't want him to play back-to-backs, just personally.
There's no way.
Sit him out against Eastern Conference teams. Like, we play the Hornets on January 11th. I mean, maybe don't play him against that. We play the Celtics and the Bucks on the 22nd and 25th. Like, maybe not once a week, but twice.
Be strategic about it, depending on who you're playing. Circle those teams where you want Kawhi Leonard to play.
And how he's looking too, right? Because that's another big thing too. If the team is looking great, I want him to play these 3 games from the 27th on. I think those are great. It's a great time for him to come back against. You match up well with the Warriors. You play 2 lesser teams after that he can kind of get his juice back and stuff like that. But after that, once it's been settled and he's feeling good and the minutes restriction is lifted, yeah, let's be a little tactful with it. Mark, I'm not doing a handlebar mustache. I have an uncle with a handlebar mustache. It changes my vibe way too much. I appreciate the note. I will not be doing that.
But you look like the biker villain in Raising Arizona. And who doesn't want to look like that badass?
That's not me. I'm fun uncle. I'm not biker villain.
Fair enough. Alfie asks, what is the goal for the team this season? I'm going to say it's maintaining flexibility while still being a contender. That is a tough needle to thread. But I think so far they're headed that direction. With a healthy Kawhi, you feel like they're a contender still in the Western Conference, and they're under the first apron and have all this cap flexibility. Like, that's the ultimate win. And so far, so good.
Yeah, the flexibility thing, they had to be ahead of a lot of other teams on how the apron stuff worked. So they figured that out very well, I think. Lawrence Frank should get credit for that. And then it was basically like, the way I see it is, be annoying as hell in the play-in or the playoffs. Like, that's the goal. Like, be that team. There's no team that's going to want to come to Intuit with Kawhi Leonard healthy for a play-in game or a playoff game. Like that, we're going to see maybe on the 27th what Intuit really looks like when Kawhi Leonard is back. But it's maintained flexibility. They are hyper conscious of that, which might make some maybe they don't make some moves that people think, but they're not going to make the giant short-sighted moves. And instill that defensive mentality, get this core. I think Chris Dunn, for all the good he's done on court, which has been phenomenal, second team all defense type stuff, maybe first, I don't know. He's been a culture piece for this team. I think that is one of his biggest contributions, is helping this team. And he's not like a rah guy or anything like that, but we saw him talking to the G League guys. He knows, like, he's played the most minutes he's ever played so far this season. And I think that was a big goal for them. And the books are going to open up. Like, I think it's just maintain flexibility and be the team that no one wants to play late in the season. And thank you for saying my mustache is goated, Triple J. I appreciate that.
Somebody else said they've done the handlebar mustache. It makes you feel evil. It's like Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3. Like, you change the look, you become a different persona.
I'm flipping babies off. I'm like, I would be. If something horrible happens with the Clippers, maybe I'll grow the handlebar mustache out. How about that?
I hate this comment. Rock said that. Okay, I'm not sure what he's referring to exactly, so maybe I don't hate it. He said that feels like a setup to throw the main rotation off, rhythm-changing play style so much. I think he means if you're only playing 2 games per week with Kawhi Leonard. Guys, throw one off. They're 25th offensively. Okay, now they're 20th after the last game, which is crazy because they shot so well. They're a bottom 10 offense.
The Jazz have a better offense.
Not going to hurt them there.
Yeah, the Jazz have a better offense than the Clippers, or at least they did before that game last night. And this team, right? We've seen this. This team knows how to come back from that stuff. Kawhi, as much as he can be, is a plug-and-play superstar for any team, but especially this Clippers team. We're going to have some hard discussions about the starting lineup leading up to this game on the 27th.
It ain't hard. It ain't hard. I'm sorry, Chris Dunn is coming off the bench. Norman Powell stays in.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. But I don't think it knocks everything up too much. Like, it's fine. This is a good problem to have. Like, I don't know. I think it'll be fine. I think it would be hard to sell to Kawhi that, like, hey, we're only going to play you twice a week or something like that. But eventually that would stop. Like, they play 17 games in March again. So maybe it's just for January because they want to ease him back, right?
Right. And maybe that's just the initial path forward until he gets a month in. He's on a minutes restriction. He's only playing a couple games a week. They're seeing if the knee swells up. Yes, I could totally see that being a planned approach by them. Yeah. Because what have we seen in the last 4 years, guys? Unfortunately, he hasn't been there in the biggest moments. There has to be, a different strategy, a different way to go about this. They're exhausting each and every avenue of possibly keeping Kawhi Leonard healthy throughout an entire season and just having him available for a playoff series. Finally, hopefully he can finish one. But I got one more question for you here, Chuck.
Lewis has a funny question too, and the answer is me by a mile. The answer is me by a QP, Lewis.
Do you think there's a chance, because I've been asked this a ton, and I think we've been asked this on Clips and Dip, that Kawhi Leonard has been healthy for some time in this mode where it's not swelling up, and they're just saying, let's wait a little bit longer. Let's wait a little bit longer. Let's see. The team's above 500 without you. We're going to push this back a little bit further here, Kawhi, even though you're feeling good, even though you're going through individual workouts on the side, aside from what he does at practice with the Clippers team. Is there a chance that they've always just planned things out this way because of how the schedule is lined up, where there's all this time off in December, and this was part of some intelligent design with the Clippers front office, training staff, and doctors?
I think they probably had a window, right? As you mentioned, the schedule to start was brutal for the Clippers. They had the most games with less than 2 days rest for like the whole season up until the end of November or something like that. Like it was a tough schedule. And you don't want to bring Kawhi back when other guys are out, because then there's an even more of a bigger responsibility on Kawhi as he's coming back from an injury. But I think it makes sense. Like I don't think that's crazy at all. I think the hardest thing to do is to pitch that to Kawhi because he obviously really wants to play. But I think they're like, hey, look at this window. Thankfully, we've been matching up well against this Warriors team. We have this time off to get everyone healthy, right? You know, Chris Dunn's sick. Terrence is going to be reevaluated. Derek Jones Jr. had the issue.
And apparently Chris Dunn has been banged up all year, according to Coach Lue. He said that last pregame.
Yeah. So I think it's a combination to make everyone feel comfortable. You don't have to ask too much of Kawhi when he's coming back. He's already such a big piece. I don't think he's coming off the bench. I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, here's a big, you know how the calendar, like December's here, January's here. They had like a weird big circle around both the months. when
they're not circling a day, they're circling a month.
Yeah, 100%, or a window or something like that. Like maybe they broke the schedule up into tiers or whatever. Like I think it was something like that, because this is a flexible front office, right? They're not setting a date. They were never going to do that because God forbid you set the date and then something else happens.
In this case, do not save the date. Do not save the date.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think that's crazy. I think they probably did a great job of pitching it to Kawhi, and now we just got to wait until the 27th.
Lastly, Chuck, we need a trade for a power forward.
We'll sign one in 2 years. It'll be fine. Not totally wrong, but
it's like, sure, who's the guy? How are you getting him? Sure. And how can he play defense, be a rim protector, be a good rebounder, and be a good shooter from the outside so he can play next to Ivica Zubac?
Well, I did have someone on the Clips and Dip stream saying that we should just start Mo Bamba at the 4 when Kawhi's back.
I feel like I know who that guy is.
I said respectfully, that's insane. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Do you guys understand how much Mo Bamba would get cooked on the other end, having to guard out there on the perimeter?
Ballmer would fire Ty Lue at the game if he started if the starting lineup when Kawhi came back was Harden, Norm, Kawhi, Mo Bamba, and Ivica Zubac. It'd be a nightmare.
Yeah, not the solution, guys. Maybe there's a trade out there. Maybe Larry Nance Jr. is gettable. Maybe Dorian Finney-Smith is gettable. We'll see. I say wait to see how Kawhi looks before you make any big moves here. Charles, appreciate you doing this. I know you got to run. You're actually doing the hard work. And we got a podcast coming up later tonight on Clips and Dip.
Yeah, should be out around 6 or so for everybody.
All right, guys. Stay tuned.
Thanks,
Chuck.
John.
We'll talk to you then. Please, God. There goes Charles Mockler. I'll plug back in now to my earlier setup with the sound card here, because I want to hear that Coach Lue audio one more time. And I know there's a lot more people now in the chat that want a hard reset on what we're discussing today after Coach Lue at practice talking about Kawhi Leonard and giving us the update we deserved and we're ready for.
Did Kawhi's reassessment go yesterday? On Monday, you said he was going to be reassessed on Tuesday.
Well, he practiced today, 5-on-5 with contact. So good seeing him out there doing that.
Practiced 5-on-5 with contact today. Kawhi Leonard. Breaking news.
Came out good, and so just continue the process and make sure we're checking every box before he returns to play.
Did he travel with you? Is he going to travel with you
He's
guys?
going to travel, yes.
Do you
He
anticipate?
will not play on this trip.
Okay. When do
Traveling with them on the 3-game road trip, but will not play.
you anticipate that he might do? You said he's doing 5-on-5 full contact. How long do you guys want to see him do that and check that box before he is ready to play?
I'm not sure.
Not sure how much longer. It's about doing more 5-on-5 contact at practice, fully practicing before they're ready to put him out there. I'll hear it one more time, or let's hear it one more time from Justin Rousseau.
How long do you guys want to see him do that and check that box before he is ready to play?
I'm not sure.
Is that
I'm not sure.
idea of traveling so you guys can get
Just my opinion, don't have any inside information on this because nobody would. It's Kawhi Leonard. I believe he will be back on the 27th if there's no setback, meaning the knee doesn't swell up from now doing full contact, strenuous work at practice. It's a big if.
Will you guys try to practice because you have those days off in between and
Yes,
get a
sir.
chance to do some more practice?
Yes, sir.
What do you want to see doing that time? Any idea?
Just
to
same
make-
thing, just progressing, just keep checking the boxes, making sure that, when he gets done, with the 5-on-5, with the contact, making sure he doesn't have any swelling, make sure he doesn't have any setbacks. So,
So we'll be doing the same stuff, and they'll be monitoring him to see if there's any swelling, any setbacks.
making sure he doesn't have any swelling, make sure he doesn't have any setbacks. So, and he can get a lot of rehab and stuff done on the road, with our team. So that's why he's making the trip.
People keep asking this, and I'm kind of surprised by it, but I understand. Gonza is asking, what's the point of traveling, though, if he won't play? So he can continue to practice with the team. They have days off between each game on this road trip. Kawhi hasn't played with everybody on this Clipper squad to build up some chemistry, to gel, to mesh, maybe to see how his knee responds from flying. These are all positive things. This is all part of the process. He needs to get out there on the court with his teammates, guys, in practice. All right.
A lot of rehab and stuff done on the road, with our team. So that's why he's making the trip.
Do you see him feeling more excited about this? It's hard to tell because he works Kawhi.
Yeah.
But do you see that?
Yeah, I can see him, getting more excited, and like I said, he's been putting in a lot of work to get to this point. And so, today to do 5-on-5 with contact was a huge step for him. And so, like I said, just got to keep doing what we're doing right now. The medical staff has been great. He's been great at putting in the work. And so now we just got to continue to keep building off of it.
When you do
Huge step for him today, going through 5-on-5 with the contact.
For him. And so, like I said, just got to keep doing what we're doing right now. The medical staff has been great. He's been great at putting in the work. And so now we just got to continue to keep building off of it.
when you
Let's see. What else do we got? Oh, Rock said, does this mean Bill Simmons is tapped in with the team? No! You know why? Because Bill Simmons said he'd be back before Christmas. That's what his Clippers guy told him. We now know he will not be back before Christmas. He's not playing on this road trip. The soonest he can be back is the 27th. And I think as long as there's no setback, he will be playing then. They're backing into it, though. Gonza said they are playing every other day, right? And will travel in between. I just assumed, I guess there's not much practice time. No! They have a 2-game mini-series in Dallas with a day off in between. They don't have to travel. There's going to be a layover between the Thursday game and the Saturday game. They are going to get a practice in. That's why you want him out there on the road to be with the team. As Chuck said, to build up, camaraderies too, like to get back in that routine, being with the team. But yes, practicing with the team, especially.
he does come back, do you expect him to slot right back into a starting lineup, or will it be like a couple years ago when you brought him off the bench initially?
I'm not sure yet.
He's going to be on a minutes restriction. when he comes?
So will he be on a starting lineup? Will he be back in the starting lineup when he returns? Will he be coming off the bench like he did when he first came back from the ACL? Good question from Justin Rousseau. who then asked him about a minutes restriction.
You know that. Yeah,
I gotta ask.
You know that.
I mean, at some point, we got to be smart about it. And so, yeah, he definitely be on a minute restriction.
He will definitely be on a minutes restriction. Of course. Of course. Rock said, I would guess on a road trip, a team usually wouldn't practice as much to reserve energy, but they need all the reps possible with Kawhi. Guys, whether or not you're going through a 5-on-5, there's still walkthrough stuff. They still do practice stuff on the road. There aren't any back-to-backs on this road trip. Ice Cold Beverage said, is it true Kawhi will speak to media once he does a full practice, possibly the next practice? He just did a full practice. The news is Kawhi Leonard fully participated in practice today.
The contact. So, good seeing him out there
Here, maybe I need to start this over because I don't know if people are listening.
yesterday.
On Monday, you said he was going to be reassessed on Tuesday.
Well, he practiced today, 5-on-5 with contact. So,
5-on-5 with contact. That's full practice.
good seeing him out there doing that. Came out good. And so, just
update. We may have Lob Murray of The Athletic coming on. I got some time right now. I can stay on with you guys for the next hour. If you guys want to chill with me, there's a good group in here. I'll send Law the link. If he's available, Lob Murray of The Athletic will join us here at some point. Guys, the news is he went 5-on-5. Full contact today. It is a big day. Ice cold beverage. It is a tasty beverage.
Expect him to slot right back into a starting lineup, or will it be like a couple years ago when you brought him off the bench initially?
I'm not sure yet.
He's going to be on a minutes restriction.
Oh,
when he
you
comes
know
back?
that. Yeah,
I gotta ask.
at some point, we got to be smart about it. And so, yeah.
Bill Simmons did not mean Kwanzaa or Hanukkah. He said his Clippers guy told him before Christmas. Therefore, Bill Simmons technically wrong. Alfie said Kawhi returning on December 27th is a perfect opportunity for Intuit to sell out on a Friday night against Steph. I think that's the game. As long as there's no setback, which he hasn't done 5-on-5 full contact stuff at practice. So you never know how his knee's going to respond until they see over the next couple of days. Hopefully everything goes well. The next time we hear from Coach Lue, that's going to be a big one because somebody's going to ask him, how did Kawhi look? Did everything go all right? That is going to be huge news as well.
He definitely be on the minutes restriction.
What you said you want to bring him back at 100%. Would you say he's at 100% right now? The fact that he's able to fully participate.
Here's Law Murray of The Athletic. This is a really good question from Law, who may be coming on with us here.
Would you say he's at 100% right now? The fact that he's able to fully participate at the level that he has.
Yeah.
Would you say he's at 100% right now?
Right now, the fact that he's able to fully participate at the level that he has.
Yeah, he feels good.
Yeah, he feels good is the response to that. I'm taking away that means he is 100%. But the knee now has to respond the appropriate way, which means no swelling after going through a full practice. So we'll really find out the next couple of days.
That he's able to fully participate at the level that he has.
Yeah, he feels good, and so we just got to make sure he continues to feel good. We don't want a thing where it's 1 or 2 days and then it's back to where he was at. So that's why we're taking the process slow. That's why we're doing it the right way. And he does feel good, and so just got to make sure we can do it for long enough to check all these boxes, make sure the process is right before we just throw him out there on the floor.
Can he continue to feel good? This is it. This is the crux of the issue. This is everything. This is the most important phase of this. How does his knee respond to more physical activity? Because I'm here to tell you, even if he responds well after doing a 5-on-5 full contact practice, another box to check is how does the knee respond after his first game back? They are not in the clear. They're not out of the woods yet with Kawhi by any means. How does it respond after the second game? How does it respond after a couple of weeks? All these things are stuff you have to account for when it comes to Kawhi and his troublesome right knee.
Feels good, and so we just got to make sure he continues to feel good. We don't want a thing where it's 1 or 2 days and then it's back to where we was at. So that's why we're taking the process slow. That's why we're doing it the right way, and he does feel good, and so just got to make sure we can do it for long enough to check all these boxes, make sure the process is right before we just throw him out there on the floor.
How about the rest of the team? Is everybody else that played Monday able to practice? Anybody come back to practice?
Yeah, DJ came back to a little bit of the practice. He didn't finish the scrimmage part of it, though. But he's ahead of schedule. He's feeling good. And so we don't know about the game yet, but he's
Derek Jones Jr. here.
Is everybody else that played Monday able to practice? Anybody come back to practice?
Yeah, DJ came back to a little bit of the practice. He didn't finish the scrimmage part of it, though. But he's ahead of schedule.
Came back to a little bit of practice, Derek Jones Jr. Didn't finish the scrimmage part of it, but he's ahead of schedule.
A little bit of the practice. He didn't finish the scrimmage part of it, though. But he's ahead of schedule. He's feeling good. And so we don't know about the game yet, but he's feeling good.
Hey, I'll take that. We don't know about the game yet because my understanding based upon the timeline with the reevaluation coming 2 weeks after the injury was he wasn't going to be possibly available for any of these 3 games on the road trip. And now we don't know about the game. Before, based upon he'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks, that would have canceled out any possibility of him playing on this road trip. Now we just don't know. I'll take that.
He's ahead of schedule. He's feeling good. And so we don't know about the game yet, but he's feeling good.
How's Kobe doing?
Kobe didn't practice today, no.
Kobe didn't practice today.
But he did some stuff on the court, full court, running for the first time, shooting. I saw him get a couple dunks or whatever, so he's feeling better.
But did run on the court, do some shooting, a couple of dunks.
Progressing well.
He's progressing well. Back injury.
DJ's sort of one of those players whose stat line doesn't necessarily tell.
Here's Lauren Rosen asking Coach Lue about Derek Jones Jr.
The whole story. Where do you feel like you missed him over these last few games?
Just definitely defensively. I think, with him and KD on the floor together, you have 2 shutdown corners. And so having those 2 guys on the floor together, like our defensive rating is.
I love how he talks about having Chris Dunn, who he calls KD. I know that's a little confusing. He's thinking Kevin Durant. But KD and DJ out there, he calls them as 2 shutdown corners.
And so with him and KD on the floor together, you have 2 shutdown corners. And so having those 2 guys on the floor together, like our defensive rating is sky high. So we miss him a lot. But he got career highs and everything, I think, in his career. 3-point percentage, field goal percentage, free throw percentage. So he's been doing a good job putting in the work every day with Jay Larranaga and continue to keep getting better.
A couple of days ago, Chris was in the locker room post game talking to a couple of the San Diego.
I want to jump ahead here a little bit to hear more. There was another question from La Murray I really liked near the end of Coach Lue's practice presser today.
That part this year didn't compare.
Style you need to play.
Just piggybacking off of that, because one of the biggest things y'all maybe don't have as much this year than compared to previous years is that second level, that mid-range. Like, how does Kawhi kind of help that part of what he does so well complement the rest of your offense?
Talking about Kawhi, a mid-range master. They haven't had that this season. How can it help everybody else?
He's definitely wanting to get to his spots and loves operating in the mid-range. But like I say, last year I think he shot a lot more threes. And so just be able to pick and choose, when you're going to take the shot. I think taking what the defense gives you, a lot of teams, most of the time, are playing in a deep drop. And so I don't have a problem at all with the mid-range. We talked to Jalen a lot about, taking that mid-range shot because that's what the defense is giving us.
He's making half of them this year.
He's made half of them?
Yeah.
No way.
He said James Harden has made half of his mid-range shots, La Murray, and Coach Lue doesn't believe it.
Because that's what the defense is giving us.
He's making half of them this year.
He's made half of them?
Yeah.
No way.
He ain't shot that many though.
No, okay, he might be 2 for 4 then. I want him to shoot like
not taking a lot of them, but
yeah.
he's made half of the non-paint twos.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let's get some more up there.
Last one.
Well, I told Coach Lue he's made half of the non-paint twos. Coach Lue said,
Non-paint twos.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let's get some more up there.
let's get some more up then.
You guys haven't
Coach,
played.
man, tell him to do that.
I've been so
I'm trying to see. I know Chris Dunn spoke at practice too. I'm seeing if we have any of that audio here. It doesn't look like it, at least on this side. Let me see here. I'm searching. La Murray, the NU, is where you find him on X. And I think he had some Chris Dunn audio here. So let's see if I can get to it. This is interesting. Let's see. Oh, he's been posting quite a bit. What is this? Is this the same account? Is this the same thing? What's the problem here? Why can't I pull up Law Murray's account? Do I gotta be signed in? I don't want to sign in on the work computer here with my X account. I don't know what could happen with that. Maybe we'll get to that at some point here. Law Murray may be joining us in a little bit. I'll continue to see if that Chris Dunn audio ends up getting uploaded from practice today. But the big news that would make it a red letter day, as Petros Papadakis, our friend here at AM 570, would say, is Kawhi Leonard participated in a full contact 5-on-5 practice setting for the first time since the knee injury going back to late March. We got Ray here saying he's excited about Kawhi. A Japanese friend, Kiri, said DJ will be on the Texas trip. It sounds like it's undetermined at this point. His status up in the air. He is ahead of schedule, Derek Jones Jr. So I would expect him to travel. Whether or not he plays with them, we'll see. But he participated in some of the practice today. David Hong said, admitted that young teams do not generally win games, but it would be nice if the first string does such a good job by the beginning of the fourth so that the starters can rest their old legs. That would be nice. I don't think that's going to be happening on this road trip. They got 2 games against Dallas and then a game against Memphis. David saying, and the young guys can consistently get 8 to 9 minute run. That's asking a lot. Not only do we want to win, we want to blow teams out so much that our young guys get ample playing time each and every night. Beggars can't be choosers, my guy. They're a couple games over 500. They're 15-12. We can't be talking about, hey, this team needs to blow everybody out, so the young guys need to get run. They just need to win games. Non-random nonsense says, I think we can all agree that once Kawhi comes back, he should be the 12th man and only play fourth quarter garbage time minutes with Kai Jones. Is this a joke? It's not particularly funny to me. I don't know how you guys feel about that one. Maybe we could get some responses in here. Maybe Kawhi has a response to that. Yeah, as I'm pulling up the usual sound bites and audio we have for you when I'm doing a show at work. I appreciate you guys. This is Clippers Talk. If you're new here, we are a 7 days a week Clippers Talk show that it goes live every show. MKXLNT said Derek Jones Jr. jersey just arrived. A bit of a tongue twister. Derek Jones Jr. jersey. Derek Jones Jr. jersey just arrived. Awesome. What color did you get, MKXLNT? Rock said, if that happens, it's probably not in our favor. We need some close games. Is he talking to David about how, yeah, if the young guys are playing late in the game, it may be a blowout that's going against the Clippers, meaning they're the team that is down big. Gonza talks, I love this team in the current vibe. Also, I love how we're so under the radar that everyone is taking the Clippers lightly, if not even putting us in consideration. They are flying under the radar a little bit, but there's been some talk After the good start they got off to this season, you heard Kendrick Perkins give flowers to James Harden and Coach Lue. Non-random nonsense confirms it was a joke. In fact, him saying just playing Kawhi, what did you say exactly? As the 12th man and only in fourth quarter garbage minutes. It was a joke. Was it a good one? I don't know. Release the mighty Clacken. Clockin. Instead of the Kraken, the Clockin for Kawhi, says DM. Oh no. Bastian Schweinsteiger's in here. I'm stating my arrival, nothing more. Thank God. The mush of Clippers talk. If you guys aren't familiar with Bastian Schweinsteiger, let me play something for you here. I shared this earlier on X on the show we did last night. That was also a pretty long show, pretty long episode. This one might turn out to be just as long here. Here's the profile if you want to understand who Bastian Schweinsteiger is. Bastian Schweinsteiger. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. The mush. The mush. The guy who, if he says something, if he makes a bet, you fade him. You go the opposite way. If he says the Clippers are winning, that probably means you should go the opposite direction. This is bad. This is really bad. So Bastian Schweinsteiger has made multiple guarantees. First, that Boston was overrated and the Clippers were going to destroy them. What did they lose by? 32? What was it? It was awful, is what it was. Then Bastian Schweinsteiger guaranteed they were going to beat Minnesota at home. How'd that game go? And now he's doing it again. So yeah, Bastian Schweinsteiger, who has been hopelessly wrong in his picks and his projections and his assessments of games. And I think he's getting some tomatoes thrown at him. Maybe they're coming my way. So he has developed the nickname of the Mush.
Eddie Mush was a degenerate gambler. He was also the biggest loser in the whole world. They called him Mush because everything he touched turned to mush.
That's Sebastian Schweinsteiger. Ice Cold Beverage said, now that he's practicing, when do you expect Kawhi to address the media? It could be soon, maybe in Dallas. We shall see. The last time it happened, I believe, was in Honolulu during the halftime of their game against the Golden State Warriors in preseason game number 1. Okay, I get it. It was a joke about Kawhi being the 12th man. Hilarious. Ray said, hey, Kawhi, how you holding up? Not too bad, I hope. Oh, God. Okay, that's hilarious. I still have to pull that sound. If you know with that one. Rock said, stating your arrival is hilarious. Sebastian Schweinsteiger stating his arrival. The Mush has entered the chat.
Eddie Mush was a degenerate gambler. He was also the biggest loser in the whole world.
I'm not saying Sebastian Schweinsteiger is the biggest loser in the whole world, but I am saying he's our Eddie Mush. Gonza said, there has been some talk, yes, the Clippers are overperforming or exceeding expectations, but still not considering the Clippers a threat in the West. I think once Kawhi comes back, and if he looks like himself, that will change quickly. Mark said, vibes 100. We need this team to stay together and no trades. No trades, please. I really don't need any trade talk in here. You guys know how I feel about all the unnecessary trade talk we've been having over the last week.
Please help me. Please help me. Please help me.
AI Adam feels the same way I do.
Please help me.
Rock said, can't say the man isn't optimistic. Sebastian Schweinsteiger. Rez said, these picture-in-picture videos, welcome to the Atomverse.
Please help me. I'm so lonely.
How can I be lonely? It's multiplicity over here. The Michael Keaton underrated movie. Rock said, not going to lie, I thought the nickname was Bush. That's not very PG if it was. The Mush with an M. Gonza said, I miss Tyler. Do we need to hear from Tyler again? It was brought up. Not too bad, I hope. You guys keep referencing it, and I need to pull and isolate this audio from that poor, lost Laker fan who actually thought it was a big win for them that the Clippers lost to the Boston Celtics. Still can't believe that actually happened. That a Laker fan was happy that a Clippers loss happened to the Celtics. It made no sense to me. Do I have this up right? I don't know. I'm not hearing it at the moment. I'll have to pull this for you guys later. But Sebastian Schweinsteiger said, when we go 3-0 on this road trip, my new nickname will be the Oracle. Oh, God.
I'm so lonely.
Please help me.
Please help me.
0-3 on the road trip is now back on the table because Bastian Schweinsteiger said we're going 3-0. Ross said, except for PJ Tucker, he needs to be traded. Fair. Mark said, also, the room was so bad that it was so good. Oh, hi, Mark. I met Tommy Wiseau one time at a 24-hour fitness at 2 a.m. And I don't know if it was a pre-workout cocktail that he was on, but he didn't look right to me. Now, who does? Benching at 2 a.m. I probably didn't look right as well. But Tommy Wiseau, he's got an interesting look to him. But I love him. God bless him. He gave us the best, worst movie of all time. I think it's better than Troll 2. Yanni Tears said, best trade incoming. PJ for nobody and nobody for Kawhi. I don't mind that. Ray said, at Gonza Talks, legendary moment. I was listening to it while on vacation and spat out my coffee when that Laker fan called in. You know what? So I can take a bathroom break, I'm going to play this for you. The Laker fan who called in to Clippers Talk that tried to troll after the Clippers had lost to the Lakers' biggest rival in the Boston Celtics, which makes no sense, of course. Why would they be happy about the Boston Celtics winning? But that's how much they dislike the Clippers, apparently. Can you believe that? I find it baffling that it happened. You guys want to hear it? Tyler called in. This was, 3 weeks ago. Tyler, the Laker fan. I'm going to play this. I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick. I'll be back because I know this is turning into a marathon-like show today. Hey, it's a big day. Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, we're talking about practice AI. He went through a full contact 5-on-5 practice, and he's traveling with the team, but he's not playing the next 3 games. Circle the 27th, as long as there's not a setback when they're back at Into a Dome taking on the Golden State Warriors. Here was that prank call from a very disturbing Laker fan. Rock said, Minnesota doesn't suck. They're better than Philadelphia right now. And again, they had to play their starters heavy minutes. Like, people just say, like, oh, these guys suck or whatever. It's like, okay, cool. They're going to be a top 6 seed in the West. Yeah, they suck. Go check it out at the end of the season. I'll circle back to this one. Tyler in Pomona. Tyler, you're on Clippers Talk with Adam Osm. What's up?
Hey, what's up, buddy? How are you tonight? Not too bad, I hope.
I mean, I knew this could happen. I was prepared for this.
Yeah, well, what do you expect? It's the Clippers. They will always clip. It's a Laker town, baby. Go Lakers!
Oh, he tried so hard. Wait, leave him. I don't want to take him down yet. Oh, Tyler, you coward. I was going to go back to you. Oh, that's just like a Laker fan to just back out of the room slowly there and run away. Weak. Look, if you're trolling on a night like this where the Celtics beat the Clippers, I think you're confused out there. See, the Boston Celtics, Tyler just proved something right there. This fool just proved something. The Clippers are living rent-free in Lakers' heads more than their biggest rival, the Boston Celtics, are. This is what's happening here. They are more worried about the Clippers than the Boston Celtics. Because if anything, a true Laker fan should be upset that the Boston Celtics won tonight. But instead, what are they focused on? Tyler, what is a coward like you focused on?
Well, first of all,
No.
No. You repeated that the Lakers are delusional. Laker fans are delusional because we request trades or we have trade ideas. Why is it that Clipper fans always have the need to bring up Lakers in anything? Get over it. This is our town. This is it.
Apparently not. How can it be your
Clippers
town
will
when
clip.
you're worried
Clippers
about the Boston Celtics
17 championships.
beating the Clippers?
17.
How
17. You guys have none. You haven't even won a Western Conference
Tyler,
championship yet.
do you
have
feel
not.
like
You
you
have
were
not.
on the court for one of those championships? Do you feel like
Oh,
you
dude,
were
I
actually
sure was.
you
I
were
sure
actually
was.
out there?
I sure was. I was popping champagne in the locker room, dude.
Hey, Tyler, once
Guess what?
again,
Guess what?
Clippers
Guess what? I
living
was
rent-free.
closer there
Clippers
than a
living
Clippers
rent-free.
player.
Maybe we could pull him down when he's talking over me, Katie. The Clippers are living rent-free. They lost to your biggest rival, and the first thing you did was say Clippers get a clip. Instead of being upset that the Boston Celtics won tonight like a real Laker fan, you're more concerned about the Clippers and wanting to take a shot at them. Tyler, you're taking so many L's right now. You just proved something that we've been talking about for a long time. For some reason, these young Laker fans, they got the Clippers living rent-free on them more than the Boston Celtics, and it shows.
17.
You keep
17
going. See,
championships.
Tyler, you can't answer the question.
17.
Tyler, you're proving my point. You can't answer the
17,
question.
dude.
You can't.
No, I know,
Why
but
are
you
you
guys
more
don't have
worried about the
champions.
Clippers than the Boston Celtics? Why are you more worried about the Clippers than the Boston Celtics? If
No.
it's all about rings, shouldn't you be worried about the team that has one on you, that has won 18? Shouldn't you be worried about them winning tonight and not the Clippers losing? Doesn't that make sense to
Too bad
you?
you both couldn't lose. Too bad you both couldn't lose.
Tyler, but
Too bad
you're
you
more
both couldn't
worried
lose, right?
about the Clippers.
Not
You
worried.
care
We
about the
own the
Clippers
city.
losing
We own
more
the
than the
city.
Boston
You covered up
Celtics.
our banners.
Tyler, it's over, man. You just proved my point. It's over. Rent free. Tyler, I'm sorry. I appreciate the phone call, but I'm sorry. You thought you had this good troll job tonight. No, Lakers 17 championships, like every stereotypical Laker fan says. You thought you had something tonight. And instead you went out sad because you proved it. Apparently the Clippers own a lot of that space in your brain right now. Tyler, my guy, the struggle is real. I know the Clippers have beaten the Lakers, 46 or 36 out of the last 46 meetings or something like that. But you probably shouldn't show that you're that upset by it by rooting for the Celtics against the Clippers. You would root for the Boston Celtics before you'd root for the Clippers. Boston's supposed to be your biggest rival. They got 18 championships. You're talking about 17. They got one on you. Shouldn't you be more worried about them? But instead, it's the Clippers on your mind. Sean in Inglewood, what's up, my friend?
You would root for the Boston Celtics.
Or it's still me. Sean, I think he was listening so much. We'll see if we can get Sean on here.
Hi, Sean, you still there?
There you have it. That was from about 3 weeks ago. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I did. Tyler, the creator, was destroyed by yours truly. But it's too easy sometimes.
Please help me.
I didn't need much help with that Laker fan. That's one of the few times I've gotten a prank call like that. Let's see what we got in here. MKXLNT said, in the last 20 years, the Lakers are 21-19 against the Celtics, and versus the Clippers, they're 29-47. That's why. Isn't it? There's a different way to put this that I think is even more impressive. Haven't the Clippers won, like, I don't know, 30 of the last 45 games between them and the Lakers? It's maybe even worse than that. Who cares? Because we got the Law join now, baby. Oh, yeah. He's got some man, like glasses on. Like, now I'm excited. Law Murray of The Athletic, at Law Murray, the NU, is joining us live here on Clippers Talk on a big day where Kawhi Leonard, for the first time since March, went through a full contact 5-on-5 practice. And Law Murray is kind enough to join us before he heads out on this road trip with the squad. Law, can you hear me okay? How we doing?
Trying to get a better mic for you, man.
Okay.
But
Well, I wish I could do the same, but it won't even let me in this room. I have all this nice studio equipment, and I can't even really use it right now because I can't figure things out with the sound card. But whatever. You sound good. It doesn't matter. The information is going to be great regardless of the sound quality here, and you sound good. So am I reading too much into, if Kawhi doesn't have a setback, he's playing the 27th back at Intuit Dome. Is that the date everybody should be circling?
you can circle it with a pencil. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not. Yeah, it's Kawhi, man. I'm not really trying to hype things up. I really am not. That word setback has been loud in the year 2024. So I'm not trying to put that energy out there. What I am trying to put out there is that things are heading in the right direction, So he went from not practicing to limited practice to a full practice 1 week to last week to this week. So he ain't playing this week, but he's traveling. That's a huge thing. As you know, when you're dealing with swelling, you don't really want to fly. And this isn't going to Phoenix or Sacramento or even, Portland. We're going 2 time zones away. So that's a significant flight. It's one that I'm about to be on. And it's not a short road trip. You know what I mean? Like, going to Denver for a 1-game trip, they could have did that. It's like no point in doing that. There's a purpose to going to Dallas. And there's a purpose to being on a 3-game road trip, which, by the way, it's going to be a rough. Like, if the Clippers win one of these games, they should feel accomplished. Like, this is a challenging road trip, given the teams they're playing, how they're playing, and where they're playing. So, that all said, things are headed in the right direction. They have 3 days off after the trip. They have the one home game, their last home game of the 2024 calendar year. It'll be an event. It's going to be a meaningful game because if the Clippers win next Friday, whether Kawhi plays or not, they clinch a tiebreaker. I think everyone knows how important that is given the state of the Western Conference. So things are headed in the right direction. There's just a lot of time between now and next week. That's all I'm saying.
Do you know when the next practice media availability will be with Coach Lue so we can find out how Kawhi and his knee responded after today going full contact?
I mean, shit, tomorrow. I mean, they play a real actual basketball game tomorrow. There hasn't been a lot of those lately. So,
oh yeah, the game's tomorrow. My bad.
Yeah.
So we'll find out pregame tomorrow about how Kawhi responded.
Possibly.
Clearly, I've had too much time off, and it's thrown me off the Clippers schedule right now because there have been so many damn days off. Lot Murray is our guest from The Athletic. Was at practice earlier today where it was announced that Kawhi Leonard participated in a 5-on-5 full contact practice for the first time. And speaking of flying and fly, people are talking about Lot Murray's fit here. This is the Kawhi is back fit. Somebody else saying the Law looks like he's from the future and the past at the same time. That's pretty good. So
See, you are the rare person who like brings me on camera. I feel like people like they'll see. I don't know. Shout out to everybody who reads, but like they'll see tweets or they'll see my stories and that's it. That's all y'all see. I'm not really one to stop for photos with Santa or anything like that. But I mean, this is just a day in LA fit for me. Like I'm literally coming in from outside. I got ribs here, man. I'm just waiting for that joint to cool off, to be honest with you. I'm probably going to eat on this. Like I told you what it was, Adam. Like it's been a week, it's been a day, it's been a month. So
when you gotta go, you go.
I'm chilling. I'm chilling.
Okay.
Like I got a Saturday Night Live thing later today. I'm very excited about that.
What's the Saturday Night Live thing?
I get to do a little show talking about the episode last week, Chris Rock, Gracie Abrams show. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah, anything like that's my show. So I'm looking forward to how that pod's going to go. But yeah, I'm chilling, dude. I got to be at the airport at midnight. So it's going to be a weird day. I'm just trying to chill.
You asked Coach Lue, and I played this question a couple different times, but how the offense can change and improve with Kawhi Leonard, who's a mid-range master, but how he can also make life easier for everybody else out there because that's not really part of their shot profile right now. And you brought up how James Harden has actually been good in the mid-range. It's just been on low volume. What are the exact numbers? Because you said he's shooting 50% from outside the paint, but with inside the arc.
Right. So he's made 16 out of 32. His mid-range is non-paint. Now that number was on top of my mind because I am writing. Actually, the story's been filed, and I'm looking forward to. It's a league story, not a Clipper story, but because it's a league story, it is a Clipper story. You see how that works? That number, yeah, it's like that thing was on top of mine. The way I look at the game, I look at everything. I look at like what the numbers look like at the end of the game, sure, but I love the process of basketball. So, if you watch the Clippers play with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard for most of these last 5 years, you saw where their shots were coming from and how they would beat teams because if you take the three away and wait at the paint, well, they got guys who pull up in the mid-range. They had star power like that. You're not seeing that this year. See, people get mad about Kevin Porter Jr., for instance, taking the mid-range shots he takes. And, I mean, it really helps him and the team when he can make that shot. You'd like him to shoot it better, but he doesn't even shoot it that much compared to other guys who take that shot at a high rate. So Kawhi is like a missing puzzle piece to the geometry of the game of basketball. It's like if you were playing, if you were watching a football game and you got your deep threats, you got your line of scrimmage, right? Your run game, you're doing it that way, but you don't have intermediate routes. Like right now, the Clippers offense is, it's pretty heavy in the paint. So in other words, they're trying to mash it in there or, they're trying to slash, do those kinds of things. And it's great when they shoot it well, but they don't have a lot of variety in their shot selection. And Kawhi would basically put them in a place where they got paint threats, they got shooters, and they got guys who can pull up in that in-between area.
When Coach Lue was asked about will Kawhi be coming off the bench again like he did a couple of years ago off the ACL, he said he didn't know. We don't expect that to happen. He did say he'll be on a minutes restriction. Is there anything when it comes to experimental load management that they'll be trying with him? I know he's not playing any back-to-back.
This is the experimental load management. What you mean?
What about
We
playing no
experimenting
more?
every week this season.
I just mean when he's actually back on the court, is it possible that they limit him to 2 games a week or something like that? Obviously, no back-to-backs, but do they take it a step further and say, we're not going to let him play 3 games a week, even if those games are split up?
I don't think that's going to be helpful to anybody. I mean, the back-to-backs part is already going to be challenging. I think there's just going to be so much, like a coaching staff and their rotation, that is really hard. And I just feel like if you play a video game and you do auto sub, like that's the easiest. Like, hey, they're gonna get out at some point, or you just turn stamina off. People like turning injuries off, turn stamina off. It's like I'm just gonna play with the 5 I want to play with when I want to play with them, right? And it's like coaching staffs can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, forget the human element to it. Like, there's a logistical process of putting rotations together. Like, that's what assistant coaches are for. Assistant coaches will be like, yo, who's played too much? He needs to get out. You know, what's the time on, you know, what's the quarter clock situation? You know, get him in, get him out. It's a real puzzle piece. And that's when everything is fine. When you got to deal with minute restrictions, the hardest part of that, and the reason why Kawhi came off the bench 2 years ago, is because Kawhi wanted to finish halves and quarters. Now that worked out fine when, you know, they were playing the Lakers that season opener.
He did hit that jumper over LeBron at the end of that game.
That was a fun, like, just game to watch, you know. And Kawhi was the mastermind behind that. T. Lue didn't want to bring Kawhi off the bench. Kawhi comes in him and is like, hey, how about I come off the bench? Like, Kawhi's selflessness is, on one hand, admirable. On the other hand, it causes problems. Like, you know, we had Russ a year and a half ago talk about how ain't nobody knew Kawhi wasn't going to finish a game in Memphis because he wanted to play a back-to-back. Like Kawhi just will come up with his own plans, and the team will be like, yeah, I think we can maybe do that. And then they'll be like, nah, we can't. Like, you heard it all year. Kawhi hasn't played, but you've heard multiple times T. Lue be like, yeah, we need to protect Kawhi from Kawhi, even if he gets mad at us. So, like, you know, Kawhi's capable of coming up with a number of surprises, and the coaching staff has a hard job. And the back-to-back part is like, well, yeah, that's just common sense, I guess. But I just, you know, I don't expect him to play much. I think it's a 20 to 25 minute thing. If he starts, cool, but shit, he might just have to leave a game, you know, or leave early in the first quarter, and you might not see him for a while, and then him trying to come back. Like, we don't know a lot about where Kawhi's rhythm is as a basketball player. Like, you need games for that. It's nice to get the practices. That is huge. Now we got to see how he reacts to practice, but things are obviously, they're encouraged enough to say, yeah, you know, he's got a seat on the plane. These games, when he comes back, it's like part celebration, and there's going to be a natural anxiety that pairs with it. And that's for everybody, especially the coaches, because they got to protect this guy, get the most out of him, get him to a place where he can eventually be all NBA Kawhi instead of participant Kawhi. And then you got 4 other guys to deal with who have to share the floor with him, and an entire roster where it's like, hey, you might play, you might not. You're going to play with Kawhi. You know, your minutes are going to go up and down. Like, just me describing it, I'm not on the coaching staff. Just me describing it is challenging. Imagine actually putting that puzzle piece of rotation together, and then you have to win games. You're not out here. This isn't a team that is so good that they're just going to probably win games, or they're so bad that, you know, you might as well play the kids anyway. This isn't the Washington Wizards we're talking about. Like, you know, it's not the New Orleans Pelicans. It's the LA Clippers, a team that is a coin flip every time they go out on the floor anyway. That's going to be fascinating to me. And we're gonna start learning more things when he gets on the floor. Him getting on the floor isn't the end of the conversation of his return to play protocol.
Yeah, it's half the battle. Andre Mack is saying he's basically saying, "Oh, see, he can come off the bench. He wants him to come off the bench." But when Kawhi, after 2 games of doing that, said, "Nah, we killed that," like
No,
I don't
Kawhi didn't
anticipate.
say that. T. Lue said that.
I thought Kawhi did too.
T. Lue was like that was yeah, he didn't like that. And I mean, that's the thing. It's like, because there's precedent of what he's done, there are things that will make sense. Like Kawhi is like the guy, he'll try a lot of things. He'll be the one suggesting it's collaborative. T. Lue's the head coach, though. He's got to be the guy who says this will work for not just Kawhi but the team.
Do you still think, and you reported on this like a month ago at least, that even when Kawhi is back, Norman Powell is staying in the starting lineup?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Norm is a core part of this team's offense. Dude's averaging 20. Like, they didn't even want to start Norm previously in past years. Like, when Kawhi was going through what he was going through to start the 2022-23 season, who was starting? Norman Powell. Like, Norman was in the starting lineup. And then after a week and a half, after they realized Kawhi's knee was not responding well and he had to be parked, that's when they brought Norm off the bench, because Norm, it just didn't work for that team. Like, Norm and Paul George didn't work well together. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Paul George is not here anymore, though.
I've noticed.
Times have changed. Circumstances have changed. I would have thought
the
that
math has changed. I'm hearing addition by subtraction a lot. The math has changed.
Yeah, Norman's commented on that before, and so that's the thing, man. It's like, yes, over the summer, over the off season, I felt like, yeah, Norm was probably going to come off the bench. I thought it was going to be Kawhi, James, Terrence, Derrick Jones Jr., and the Vince Zubats. And obviously, we saw that Kawhi wasn't going to be ready to start the season. That was like, all right, well, Norm's going to start. But just seeing where and how T. Lue actually sees guys' roles on this roster, Norm is your, if James is your primary playmaker, like, Norm is the number one right now. And when Kawhi comes back, Norm's probably going to still get the same shots. Like, Kawhi's got to take time to get back to, they're going to run the same things for Kawhi, and Kawhi's going to get his shots in the limited time. But no, they got to keep Norm going. Norm is a core part. The guy who's going to sit is most likely Chris Dunn, who, by the way, this staff didn't really want to start Chris Dunn. They gave Terrence Mann the first shot at starting, as you saw. It didn't work. So Chris is there, but you also see that there's a lot of talk about, man, why don't you play Chris Dunn more? You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, it would be nice if you could build the whole plane out of Chris Dunn's. But I said this earlier in the season too. I hate saying I said this as if to say, like,
pat yourself in the back. I got my own receipts.
Y'all see where I'm coming from. It's like, I want to have this as a place of, I didn't just figure this out yesterday, or I didn't learn this yesterday. There's a lot more that I'm going to learn. There's a lot more y'all are going to learn. But like with Chris, I was under the understanding that when you have a guy like him who is asked to basically be a 94-foot guy, a point of attack defender, someone who's going to play with maximum effort, and a guy who has struggled in extended minutes, either because of durability or because of just being able to maintain that way of playing and staying healthy over the course of the season previously in his career, you got to limit that guy's minutes. It's like, Chris Dunn in 20 minutes is a powerful basketball player. Chris Dunn in 25 minutes, things get a little shaky. Chris Dunn in 30 minutes, you're asking for trouble, because of his own limitations and also because of his own durability. You have to protect a player like that. Chris Dunn with Kawhi back, you're going to get a better version of Chris Dunn because like Chris Dunn can go out there and play with maximum effort and effectiveness for 20 minutes, right? And Kawhi can fill that spot in the starting lineup. Kawhi's not going to play that much early on. Like you're making your entire team better. That's kind of where I'm going with this. I would be surprised if Kawhi comes off the bench. We can't put it past him or the team. But it makes all the sense in the world for the Clippers to roll out a starting lineup of James, Norm, Kawhi, Derrick Jones Jr., and Ivica Zubac.
Yeah, I agree with you. Norman Powell has earned this opportunity, and with the way he has performed since getting into the starting lineup, there's no way you can take that guy out. And it was interesting pregame hearing Coach Lue before that beatdown against the Utah Jazz by 37 the other night talk about how Chris Dunn has actually been dealing with stuff all season long. Like he's been beat up.
Of course he has. That's why, like, I'm not going to be the type. I'm sorry. Ribs is great.
You're good. Where are they from?
What you mean where it's from? It's from right here, bro. It's ain't from around the corner, man. Come on.
I'm not seeing a box if you're holding one up.
Yeah. Come on, man. I don't do that takeout stuff. I'm in LA, bro. Anyway, I'm not going to be the one to ask, like, hey, should you play Chris more? I asked Chris straight up when I was in Houston. Yo, bro, you starting now, so you going to be able to handle heavy minutes like that? And Chris was like, we going to have to see, huh? And it's like, yep. Like, there's an understanding of what kind of player Chris Dunn is, right? I remember we were talking about this with Terrence a few years ago. Like, minutes are hard. Like, you know, people just think that guys regularly play 35 minutes, or it's like, this guy's good, just play him more minutes. And it's like, there are some games you might want to do that. Like if it's Zubac, like there's some games where it's like, yeah, you're going to play that dude 35, 40 minutes because you like, he's killing his matchup. You need it. You don't have a lot of faith in your backups or your alternative lineups, but you can't do that every game. You're going to wear the guy out. You're playing with fire with certain guys. Chris is not out there to chill. Maybe on offense, but even on offense, why is he out there? To relieve James Harden of his burden, right? So like, you know, I've never been, and this is before Chris got to starting job. I was like, look, I know Chris has been good. You got to limit his playing time. You have to limit his playing time. The best thing about Chris is I think he's played in every game this year, or close to it. And that's great. But it's like, do you want him to continue to play at that level? Do you want him to continue to stay healthy? You have to protect your players. Like Chris is one of 3 Clippers to play every game. Zoo and Nico are the only other guys. It's the same combo with Nico. Yes, Nico is a really heady basketball player, high floor guy, knows what he's supposed to do at all times. He just turned 36. You have to limit what you can do with Nico if you want Nico to last throughout the season. Zoo, like you can't take for granted that he's durable and everything. You have to protect him. It's great that he's been there every game. You want to keep it that way. So, I think Chris Dunn's ideal role is around 20 to 25 minutes, probably the lower end of that. And Kawhi coming back helps that tremendously.
Even with Coach Lue saying that he wants to get him closer to 30 minutes per game at some point.
Who, Chris?
Yeah, he said that pregame.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice, but I also just don't think that it's a sustainable thing,
Yeah.
My perspective on this doesn't just come from the role that guys play. It comes from, Chauncey Billups talking about Chris Dunn and how he was happy for him. But he was like saying he's just got to get his body right. And that's what we talked about when he was in Portland. Like he went to Atlanta on a good contract in Atlanta, and he struggled mightily. I think he only got through 4 games that season, 2020-21 season. Like it's about getting a guy to be healthy, stay healthy, and to get the best version of themselves. It reminded me of Dwayne Casey talking about Reggie Jackson. Reggie was in the middle of a resurgent year, and Dwayne Casey was coaching the Pistons. Obviously, Dwayne coached Reggie in Detroit. And it was like, yeah, we had to tell Reggie we're happy for him. But it's like, you need to prioritize taking care of your body. You need to do that if you're going to, if you want to continue to be in the NBA, like that's what you have to do. And so that's on the player, but that's also on the team to protect the guy. And so that's, I know a lot of people want to see Chris play more, but I also think that you just got to be reasonable about it.
We got a question from our friend in Japan. Kiri wants to know, with Kawhi back, assuming they're fully healthy, who's out of the rotation? Does he take it all the way down to 9? And if that's the case, how many guys or who's available?
I think you can keep it at 10. I think T. Lue has been a lot open about playing a 10-man rotation, and he has been. And I think the other benefit to this is, I think you have to see that who else is there. Like the Clippers are shorthanded right now, right? So how long does it take Terrence to get back? How long does it take Derek to get back? I think that some guys have shown that they're probably not going to be in the rotation just because of how they've been used or how they've been playing, right? Like we saw Bones not be in the rotation against the Jazz Monday night after T. Lue was like, yeah, we're going to go to 10-man rotation in Denver. But, they obviously didn't go that route Monday. They waited until the fourth quarter to put Bones in Monday night. We've seen the center position. Like Mo Bamba's going to play if he's healthy, and Kai, it's just a matter of, is he even going to be on the game day roster or not? Kai's been playing more in the G League lately than with the LA Clippers. And so, Jordan's still on that two-way. And I feel like I don't think the Clippers are going to worry too much about keeping Jordan in the rotation. It was exciting to get Jordan a chance to get some real run. I think that with Jordan kind of not shooting the 3 ball as well as he'd like, and obviously the rebounding and defensive challenges that he's had, the coaching staff trying to help him. It's great that he's playing now, but I don't think that it's going to. I can see him not playing when the team is full. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Terrence. Like, we just got to see. Terrence was in a good rhythm, but when you get hurt like that, you just got to see who's playing. Amir is playing every single one of these games. Kevin Porter is playing every single one of these games. Kevin's been, obviously had a very shaky season with his efficiency, but there's a lot of value when it comes to having a primary playmaker in the second unit, and that's where he's at. So, I got 10 guys. I think you just got to see who's available, but there's only 8 guys on the team averaging 20 minutes right now, and then Nico Batum's at 18. So I think that's and Mo Bamba's at 13 and a half as your backup center. So there's going to be one guy out that's a surprise. Don't know who that's going to be yet.
I've gotten a lot of people over the last couple of weeks, since it's become increasingly likely that Kawhi's return is imminent, saying, well, he's going to throw off their rhythm. What's going to happen? And my point has been, what rhythm? Going into that last game offensively, they were 25th. They were worse than Utah. After the game, they jumped up to 20th. But am I wrong in thinking, I don't see how Kawhi is going to hurt them on the offensive end?
That's what this month is for. We're not seeing, obviously, we get invited to practice, and they're done practice. They're messing around on the court doing some drills or, but what they're doing, even if they're not going super hard in these scrimmages or these drills, film is important. Walkthroughs are important. Getting communication right on both ends of the floor, especially defensively, obviously, but, being on the same page is important. This has been weeks of Kawhi being involved in uniform, but as far as Kawhi being involved in terms of what they're doing, and Zoo, he told me this when I was in practice last week. It was like, yo, man, it's Kawhi. Like, he's got a high basketball IQ. Implementing him is not going to be that hard. That's Zoo straight up. Like, that's not even me paraphrasing, really. So when you get a guy, when you get a guy like Kawhi, like yeah, like there's going to be some disruption. Damn it, this team needs some disruption. To your point, like it's not like they're a consistently high performing offense for one reason or another. They actually shoot the ball fine, but they turn the ball over, and you got guys who don't always do the best job of putting themselves in position to succeed offensively. Like Kawhi's going to help all that. And so, guys have been in and out of the lineup for weeks now. When he comes, like this road trip is going to be hard for the Clippers. They're playing 2 teams in 3 games that are playing high performing basketball. Like I don't know if the Grizzlies or the Mavericks have a losing streak in the last couple weeks or so. Like those are going to be hard games. You're going to come back where the Kawhi debuts are not like big game and whatnot. Like it's going to take time. T. Lue said that today. You saw that. Like it's going to take time, but it's time that you need to take so that you can get to a place where you're playing your best basketball sooner rather than later.
So a lot of people, I'm sure you already knew this, but are saying Derrick Jones Jr. has been upgraded to questionable for tomorrow night's game. And I was a little bit surprised when Coach Lue said he was ahead of schedule, because going off that timeline of 2 weeks, that meant the reevaluation was coming after this 3-game road trip. But he practiced to some extent today, Law?
He was limited, which shout out to Derrick Jones Jr., man. Like that dude is like Lazarus. Like, I mean, yeah, it's you see him every game. He'll go down. He'll look like he's like got a soft tissue injury. It's like I wasn't surprised. It's like okay, he finally actually got hurt, But they slap him with a 2-week timetable, right? They slap him with a 2-week timetable. After what was it? The Rockets game that the Rockets game is when he started and left after the first quarter. And like, so I'm thinking, all right, I'll see you on Christmas. And of course he makes the road trip. And again, I don't really like the idea of him actually playing or coming back early from a hamstring. We saw with Norm, like Norm was questionable the entire road trip, going from Philadelphia all the way through Minnesota. Didn't play in any of those games, so we'll see. But like I know DJ would want to play. He obviously won a Western Conference championship with the Mavericks. You know what I'm saying? So, like. If I won't put it past him. That dude is young and athletic and gifted. Like he told me not to worry about him if he ever like goes to the locker room. Like this dude is like the wing version of Anthony Davis for real. So I'm not going to put it past him. I don't really feel great about him playing ahead of the timeline, but if T. Lue said he's ahead of schedule, back in practice already, it's not like he hadn't been traveling. It's like we'll see, man.
Terrence Mann, though's not in the same spot. He wasn't practicing today.
No, that dude has surgery, so no. Like, man still walking around like he got a superpower on his left hand. So no, he's out. Again, at least with a hand, you can stay in shape. You know what I'm saying? You can work on your right hand, and you just got to let that thing heal. And when he comes back, he comes back. That's not a soft tissue thing. That's a break in the bone and a surgery to repair it. Not the cleanest break either. Like he showed me what that looked like. It wasn't pretty, but because it's a finger. Hey, I broke mine. You can see. Well, this is. Yeah, I can't put as many rings on that one, but like,
it's not exactly a Michael Jordan hand. It's not that.
Nah. I can't look. I can't be like Bill Belichick recruiting people to UNC with that, John. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got those kind of rings. But Terrence will get back when he gets back, and like I said, the rotation is going to just be who's available on a game by game basis indefinitely.
Do you have any concerns about the last couple of games from Jordan Miller? A lot of people are saying, "Oh, maybe he's not him." They're starting to scout Jordan Miller now. He's getting some issues getting to the basket. I think it's just 2 games, but what do you think?
I don't think it's 2 games though. Like I think it's more than 2 games. I think
I thought he was
again,
good against
Jordan.
Houston.
I mean, how are we going to define good? You know what I mean? Like,
I thought they should
no,
have gave
really,
the ball more.
no, not really though. Like, 12 points on 12 shots for a lot of guys, people would be like, that's an okay game. So like I just feel like everyone on the team should be held to a certain standard, Jordan included, and like I just feel like I'm looking at that Houston game. That's the only game all season where he's made more than 1 3-pointer. Like Jordan, again, like when you play, other teams are going to be like, oh, this guy's playing. Let's take away what he likes to do. Let's be rough with him. Let's see how he adjusts to us. Let's see if he can guard this action. And so it's been an education for Jordan, and he's done a good job just being out there and participating. But it's not like Jordan's going to the line multiple times a game anymore. It's not like he has made the plays offensively. It's been a lot. So the great thing is he's getting this experience. He's playing. He's getting a chance to learn. Like we see what works and what doesn't work. And like I said, when the team is fully healthy and you got to make hard decisions, I think one of the things that you can see is Jordan's probably not going to be in the rotation when this team is back to having more of their main guys. But shout out to Jordan. Like, we wanted to see Jordan play. We wanted to see him get an opportunity to put on. We learned what kind of player Jordan is, what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are, what his areas of improvement are. We think that he can be a good 3-point shooter, especially from the corners where he is comfortable catching that thing, not even dipping it below his chest. But that doesn't mean that he's getting that shot consistently or making that shot consistently. We think that he can get downhill and be a guy who can put pressure on the rim. But he is much better when that is schemed for him than he is when the game is random in the flow of the offense. And so that's one of the reasons why he's not getting to the line as much. It's like if you have an ATO and you can draw a play up where it's a delay, a dribble handoff, and he can get to the money, he's really good at executing that. And part of this is his teammates. Part of it is not playing with guys who do a great job of getting the ball moving in the flow of the offense. Part of it is just the state of the offense in general. But, that hurts a guy like Jordan. If Jordan had the ball more, then maybe he could cook. But again, what's best for the team, not necessarily what's best for one of your players coming off the bench. And then the defensive thing is something that has been an open conversation among teammates, among coaching staff, Jordan himself. Like, it's an education. So he'll be better for this experience. Don't know if he'll stay in the rotation or when his next chance will be if he winds up not being in the rotation. But this isn't like he struggled the last couple games. It's like, there's been things over his time where it's like they're trying to work on him with.
Because I've been asked this over the last 48 hours, really longer than that. And my position is the Clippers shouldn't be looking to make any big moves. They need to see how Kawhi Leonard looks. But once December 15th rolled around, everybody's talking about trades again. Last night, people saying Zach LaVine, of course, John Collins in town. His name gets brought up by Clippers fans. How do you
Clippers
feel?
fans or Clippers fans or Clipper people who just like to throw some Photoshop on social media every 48 hours?
Maybe both. Some people get far too excited for the trade machine, even though, like, how often has a trade machine trade actually happened in real life? Is that ever happened?
I can't wait until February 7th, man. Like, shout out to the new CBA. You can't do the buyout like you used to. I'm ready for that date. That's gonna be my Christmas. Like, here's the deal with the roster, because you're getting to a point that again, I did power rankings this week, and I literally, had to pretend like I cared about like, the trade window opening. Like I had to figure something out. I called up with Luke Kennard the other night because I went to Grizzlies Lakers, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be traveling. And Luke is one of my favorite people. Like literally one of my favorite guys. Like I went to his high school jersey retirement, like after an 8-game road trip. Like that's one of my favorite. I've never done that for any player before that, and I haven't done that for any player since then. Like Luke is legit one of my favorite people, and I noticed that he hasn't been playing. I noticed that the previous time I saw him is when we were in summer league for Vegas, and he was hanging with the Grizzlies, but he hadn't signed his contract yet. They're kind of waiting to see exactly what the terms are going to be. Like he has an extremely tradable deal right now, and then he goes out. Taylor Jenkins doesn't put him in the damn game until they're down 20 because, the Lakers were ready to play and the Grizzlies look like LA nightlife, on a Sunday evening. And, Luke reminded people what kind of player he is and what his value might be, if not to the Grizzlies, to some other team that might be interested in him. The Grizzlies don't even have Gigi Jackson back, like that's another example of a team where it's like you can't fault guys or a coaching staff for having too many good players, especially when the team is playing well, right? So, of course, that stuff is on players' minds. It's going to start being on players' minds. We know what it is, especially if you've been traded before, and Luke has been traded multiple times in his career. It's like this is the time of the year where you'd be like, I wonder what's going to happen over the next month and a half. So, as it relates to the Clippers, the easiest thing for all those guys is you have a roster in flux anyway. You know what team you signed to. If you got your money, that's what guys care about. Now, the location, where things are going to go between now and January and that deadline first week of February, who the hell knows? Your responsibility is to just get the most out of what you're going through right now, period. And so for the Clippers, things are going to happen later rather than sooner. They do not have any sense of what this team looks like because certain important people haven't played yet. But we also know the history of this organization. We know that they're going to do something. We know they kind of have to do something. They literally have guys chilling, not with the team, making more than $10 million. So we all know that they're having open discussions about what they can do and preparing to do those things. That the most look, you guys want anything related to trade season? Everything has to wait and see until Kawhi, gets back and to see how sustainable his comeback is.
Yeah, to me, that's the prudent thing to do. It's only natural. And I just don't see a team that has an appetite for trying to go all in for like the fourth straight time with the last first round pick they have to give up for some major piece. It doesn't seem like something the Clippers would do. Trade PJ Tucker, Bones, somebody like that, sure. But bring in Zach LaVine, bring in Jimmy Butler. What are we talking about? Because if you don't have Kawhi healthy, what does it matter?
And it's like what I was writing about over the summer when we thought Kawhi was going to have a normal, preseason and training camp. It's about what kind of team you're building in the short term and the long term. Like the Clippers pivoted. They pivoted hard. There were people in July who were like, just give Paul George everything he's asking for or send him to the team that has the most broadcast opportunities, whatever. Like they want to do something where it's like, put Paul George in a place where it makes sense for us. So we can, it was clownish. It was silly then. And you knew it was silly then because now you don't hear that same thing. You don't hear nobody saying, man, the Clippers should have just gave Paul whatever he wanted, or Clippers just should have traded him just for the sake of trading him. And that's going to apply to guys who are not on the team as well, Adam. Like, you see the season Norman Powell is happening. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I got these ribs right here. I didn't need to go and pay, I didn't need to go to do lines to get some soul food, right? I got that stuff right here. And so I know everybody who grew up, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, we want to go to McDonald's. You don't want to go to, I can cook. We got this right here. And we don't even need to go nowhere. You got Norman Powell putting production together at a price that is half of what some people were photoshopping the Clippers that have to bring in. You see how that works? So, like, what are you doing? Like, bringing in someone to hog-tie your flexibility going forward. That's how bad organizations are run. I'm not saying the Clippers are not going to do those things because we just got to see how it plays out. But I'm saying if that doesn't happen, like, there's a reason for it. It's about flexibility. It's about, can you, like, Norman Powell's really good. He's really good at him. Like, he can score efficiently. He can do things on the ball and off the ball. He can participate and not cannibalize a defense that's trying to be, a top 5 defense in the league. You can do all those things. So why do you need to, like, I don't know, do you need to sell tickets? Like, you want more people to come into it, though? Like, you don't need
Zach
to.
LaVine played at UCLA.
Yeah, so did Norman Powell, goddammit. So, like, it's the same principle. Anybody that you bring on your team. I asked Will Hardy about John Collins because, I'm intrigued by. I used to write 3 years ago about how, man, John Collins is exactly what the Clippers need. I wrote that. Like, I can pull the link up for y'all if y'all need to find it. I know we don't do the greatest job at The Athletic making our stuff accessible to subscribers or non-subscribers as far as archival stuff. But the receipts is there. I was like, yeah, I know Marcus Morris and Nikola Batum was on this team, but John Collins, they need athletic size. I used to say that for a while. And then I went to Atlanta and I saw John Collins' finger blown up like a balloon, and I was like, this might take a while.
I'm good.
John is just now shooting at that level that he was 3 years ago, but we've learned a lot more about what works for John and what doesn't work. Will Hardy has had those same lessons. Will is much more understanding of what works for John now than when he first got John from Atlanta. Again, it's about winning battles versus winning wars. Like, the mid-range can be a battle, right? Hey, we need a guy who can make mid-range shots, but you wouldn't build the whole plane out of that. Like, you're not going to just take a bunch of mid-range shots just to say, hey, look, stylistic differences or whatever. You shoot that shot to win the game, but, like, don't shoot that shot just to, get some 50-year-old to watch basketball or something. Like, you don't get John Collins on your team just to say, hey, look, we got a guy who's a power forward and can run and jump and dunk. Like, you already got the best rebounding team in the league. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to have a player who's going to hurt you in terms of your spacing or in terms of who you can guard and who and all that, just to say we have a guy who is like Blake Griffin size on our roster. It has to make sense on the court, and it has to make sense as far as the team that you're trying to build going forward. That team has some money opening up, maybe not next year, but over the 2026 offseason, it's almost 2025. That's crazy. 2026 offseason, 2027 offseason. Like, Kawhi's deal is up in 2027. Like, what does the next era look like? And do you want to trade in the possibilities of what your team could look like in 2027 because you want Brandon Ingram on your team? Like, that's not a disrespect to Brandon Ingram. It is a respect for the process of, it ain't all about this year. And it ain't all about, like, building the best team now. It's about, this is a new CBA. Like, the other owners made it so that Steve Ballmer couldn't get Norman Powell kind of guys on his team for the price of just giving up Eric Bledsoe's contract. You can't do that no more, Adam.
Yeah, I felt like this summer the Clippers were trying to construct a team that could be competitive now, and if things go their way, who knows? Maybe they can be competitive getting out of the Western Conference, while also having an eye or an eye and a half on the future at the same time. Like, isn't that the best of both worlds? You got cap flexibility while having a competitive team now. Isn't that what the ultimate goal is by this front office?
Yes, I would agree. And the front office, they believe their window is open. Like, their stars, they got younger, but they ain't get that much younger, right? So, like, this is a team that wants to be in position to do big things. They've just changed their methodology of achieving that goal. And so James Harden is not talking about a championship, but damn it, that dude still wants to win a championship. You see what I'm saying? Kawhi is, being very open about what he wants to do for, the fans and to get through a playoff series. Like, yes, that is a modest goal compared to, previous years. But make no mistake, once that dude starts playing games, he's going to want to get this team to the playoffs, survive a playoff series without having to bow out, something he hasn't been able to do the previous 4 years. And then from there, like, I covered the Drew League for a decade. Like, we used to always say, no matter what the seeding is, just get in and see what happens from there. Like, I mean, I'm not going to compare the NBA playoffs to a pro-am, but I want to make the point that you just saw an Oklahoma City Thunder team, like, play the defense that they're capable of playing and still get absolutely smacked in a winner, basically a winner-take-all game considering the stakes. It's like, good thing for OKC that they basically got a free scrimmage to understand what they can't do in a big game, right? But like, if you're looking at that game and you're the Western Conference, you're like, Alex Caruso shot what? Lou Dort didn't make a single three. Case and Wiles didn't take a single three. They started Isaiah Joe and Isaiah Joe couldn't get off. Okay, that's just half of your guard rotation. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That was my show last night. I felt like, hey, the West is open.
The West is open, man. But like the West, you got to play your style of basketball the best way. I think that is more important than saying we're going to basically buy a contender. You know what I'm saying? And buying a contender isn't just like paying guys contracts. It's also like, what kind of assets are you willing to sacrifice? Like, people want the Lakers to go all in and make a trade, do something. There's a lot of do something when it comes to talking about the league and how it works. Exactly. You know that shit. Like, there's a lot of that. And it's like, all right, but like, where are you? Who are you? What's your identity as a team? What's a move going to make? Like, the Dennis Schroeder trade is fascinating to me. I'm going to see that dude next Friday, when the Warriors visit. And I'm fascinated because on one hand, Dennis was playing outstanding basketball for a team that was blatantly trying to tank, and they weren't doing a damn good enough job of it, okay? Like, that's why this move got made in December instead of February, because Brooklyn's like, yo, we got our draft picks back. We need to plummet, okay? Dudes are playing too well. That's what front offices do. Front offices is like, this is the opposite of, the Pistons taking Killian Hayes away from Monty Williams in Detroit last season. Like, that bull hooping, right? But at the same time, we just saw Chris Paul in Golden State last year. The fit, it's like, oh, wow, Chris Paul's on the team. Look out. And then you look and you see, man, this is an adjustment. Draymond Green. Draymond is one of my favorite people to like listen to describe the dynamics of team basketball, right? Like, I love listening to Draymond kind of process what makes sense for basketball teams, especially his own. And he was like, no, like, we need to be the ones to adjust to Dennis Schroeder. Steve Kerr is already saying we need the things that we don't have. Like, the Golden State Warriors. Again, if you look at basketball, you're just like, they just take a lot of threes. They have Steph Curry, like, strength in numbers, all that shit. Like, I can't tell you how many people, Adam, you heard this. I know your mentions was lit up to, like, why don't the Clippers play 13 guys like the Warriors do? And then the Warriors are literally telling you how hard that stuff is, even when it's going well. And then when it's not going well, Steph Curry's like, yeah, I think we need to be more predictable, because being predictable in terms of your rotation isn't just, oh, that team knows exactly what plays you're running. It should make things easier for the opponent. It's like, no, like, guys, basketball is a team game and it's a rhythm game. Guys need to we're about to talk about this with the Clippers. Again, guys need to know who they're playing with, how they're going to play, when they're going to play, how long they're going to play, especially if you're coming off the bench. And that is hard. It's hard on coaches' staff. It's hard on players. It's a rhythm game. Like, It didn't work for the Warriors. Now the Warriors are like, we need Dennis Schroeder. We're not a pick and roll team. Like when you watch basketball and you say everyone plays the same way, you're telling on yourself because that's not true. Like you can't be like everyone plays the same way and then complain about how the Clippers run a bunch of ISO. Like, yeah, that's the Clippers style of play. The Clippers aren't going to do Warriors style split cuts. That's not their style of play. You want to see if it's a Zubats, throw 15 passes a game. I'm just happy when Zoo can hit James Harden on that backdoor cut that gets James a dunk. He's done that twice. I've counted every single time that happens. You know what I'm saying? I think it happened against the Warriors, right? Like, so if you're Dennis Schroeder, you're like, I'm coming here to run pick and roll. I'm coming here to, actually give the Warriors a playmaker so that Draymond can keep coming off the bench to preserve Draymond Green. And we know that Dennis Schroeder has done both. He's gone from bad situations and played great. He's also gone from good situations, comes to the Lakers, right, after almost winning Sixth Man of the Year in OKC, and it's like, I want to start. Also, I'm not taking your money. Also, oh, snap, turns out this ain't working. Y'all ain't winning the championship no more. Like, I'm fascinated because on paper, it's like, oh, of course. He's replacing a guy who had ACL surgery. He's averaging 18. He's killing it. On the other hand, it's like the Warriors don't play the style of basketball that has enabled Dennis to play with the confidence and effectiveness that he's been able to play. There's going to be a learning curve there, and I'm fascinated to see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm interested, especially because lately Steph does not look right at all.
He looks like he's 36. Is Steph turning 37 this year? That's crazy.
Oh yeah,
bro,
he is.
Steph is turning 37 years old before the playoffs start. At 6, he's 6'2", 6'3", small guard. Like he looks like a guy who's played 16 years of high-level NBA basketball, who's had the ankle surgeries, who won a gold medal for this country. You know what I'm saying? A bunch of those dudes who were in Paris.
They hit the wall.
Yeah. And I learned this back when I first got into hoop back after the Dream Team. See, I was too young for the original Dream Team, but they were talking about Dream Team 2. You know what I'm saying? The 96 team.
With Penny and Grant Hill, baby.
They didn't even need to go on a plane, you know. Well, I guess they had to go on a plane to get to Atlanta, but they didn't need to leave the country. You know what I'm saying? Everybody came to Atlanta, and like that was a hell of a team too. But everyone was talking about after that summer how there was a drop off. Guys aren't as sharp, as they were before they were playing in the Olympics, right? I mean, it's the same principle. Like guys have especially those older guys. They've needed a little bit more help, with their rhythm and everything. Steph's not scoring like he used to. Like I did team position rankings back over the summer, right? And like I put Jalen Brunson over Steph, and people are like, "How dare you?" And a casual observer is right to say, "How dare me?" Like that's why I would do these. I hate rankings too, but I do them not for content or the conversation. I do them because I want to see us keep that same energy. Like I'm looking at how Jalen Brunson's playing and where his trajectory is compared to Stephen Curry and where his trajectory is. I look at Steph Curry and be like, that dude is not getting to the free throw line like he used to. I mean, he's a bucket, but he needs Draymond to set him up. Like Draymond is his point guard. Like what does Steph Curry look like in year 16? Not what did Steph Curry look like when he was the unanimous MVP. We're not judging that. Like,
hey, I'm taking today's Norman Powell over today's Paul George. I think I am.
Yeah, like, if you're looking at how Paul played this year and how Norris played this year, that's like, duh. Like, if you just go player A, player B, blind taste test, like, well, that's not like a crazy conversation. Yeah, if you're looking at Olympic gold medalist Paul George versus second round pick Norman Powell, then yeah, you might feel like that's disrespectful. It's not the same conversation. You value guys' experiences, you value what they've been through, you value that institutional knowledge. And again, Bucks Thunder last night. If it's one freaking game, you saw what the Bucks are capable of. The Bucks aren't going to play with that level of attention and energy throughout the course of a whole season. But if that Bucks team gets to the playoffs with the right guys in their lineup, yeah, it turns out that they got guys who might be a little bit better than whatever you're seeing in the dog days of the regular season. we gotta separate what guys have done with what guys are doing and what guys are going to probably do in the short term. And so, yeah, that's we gotta be real about that.
Lastly, Law, as somebody that covers the NBA for a living, do you think people are just regurgitating talking points right now when they bring up how much money, or it's not even the money, it's the viewership that's down? The money, they just got $80 billion on their new TV deal. But everybody wants to talk about TV viewership being down. Do you think this is some serious dire straits issue for the league? Or is it just a talking point by people who already like to hate on the NBA, and it just gives more fuel to the fire?
It's all of the above. So Adam Silver, I'm so glad that I watched pro wrestling for part of my upbringing. Got in and out of it.
Hey, I just finished that Mr. McMahon doc on Netflix.
I gotta see that thing. I gotta
It's
see
good.
that thing because what's funny is I always liked The Rock. I always liked Stone Cold, right? I never liked Triple H. I thought the McMahon Helmsley faction was no, I never wanted to succeed. You know what I'm saying? And this isn't like 7-year-old me. This is like 7th grade me, right? I'm a little bit more developed about what's right, what's wrong. And it's like, yeah, like I want the faces to do well. I don't want the heels to do well. Like, how could you cheer for the heels? Like, as I've grown further in my understanding of what hits, like, it's fun to be a heel sometimes, right? Like, it's fun to talk your talk. And
Is that why you got that Undertaker outfit sometimes you're wearing?
I don't know what you're talking about, but when it comes to like when it comes to the conversations and things, it's like Ric Flair, for instance, it's like Ric Flair was always a heel, but to cut a promo like Ric Flair, you know what I'm saying? Like, and them Ric Flair promos, they crazy the way they hit. You know what I'm saying? Like you get somebody with a Ric Flair promo. You know what I'm saying? Talking about your Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, wheeling, dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun. Like, yeah, that's probably gonna stay with you, right? So, I think just there's a lot of people who don't like what they see, but they want to talk about it, And Adam Silver, the reason I brought up the WWE stuff, Adam Silver is in the middle of everything. He's a commissioner, but he's the commissioner like Mick Foley used to be the commissioner. You know what I'm saying? Cheap pops, let me acknowledge everything, let me address everything. Like, Adam Silver is never going to say that his customer is wrong. He's never going to say, yeah, that's hogwash. We're never open shut case. We're never going to look at it, consider it. He's never going to do that. He's always going to at least give some token acknowledgement to something that could be better or an opportunity in the future. Like me personally, I don't love it. Like, I'd love for Adam Silver to just say, hey, look, the next 2 NBA teams are going to be in Seattle and Vegas. We're not sending a team to Europe or Mexico City. No disrespect to those markets. I'm just thinking about guys who have families, or, the fan who is like, man, I brought these tickets for the game in England, but so-and-so player didn't show up. Like, you going to have transatlantic flights as part of a 5-game road trip? No. But like Adam Silver is, he's not going to be the type to shut that down. He's going to be like, we might put a team in Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
I guess. Like, be for real, Adam. But this 3-point convo is another part of it. Like, 3-point shots are good, bro. Like, I grew up begging the Philadelphia 76ers to shoot threes, bro. Like, Allen Iverson getting his ass kicked from baseline to baseline. And Larry Brown's like, nah, we're going to shoot 10 threes a game, bro. The whole team, you get 10 threes.
That was just Aaron McKee.
Bro, Larry Brown coached Reggie Miller. And that's why Reggie Miller sound the way he do now. He was like, Reggie, I know you're a good 3-point shooter, but what if we let you only take 1 per quarter? Like, that's what y'all want to see. real talk. So it's like the league is popular. The ways to watch the league, that's what is really hard. Like I remember being a kid growing up. I never watched no West Coast team unless they were on NBC on a Sunday afternoon because then I didn't have to negotiate a bedtime with my parents. You know what I'm saying? Like now it should be easier to watch the league, and yet you still have all these like things that you have to overcome. Like shout out to Clipper Vision, but I don't know if all y'all got Clipper Vision. If you in Denver, you want to watch the MVP Nikola Jokic. Every year I hear about who doesn't have altitude and how like difficult it is for the Nuggets to get their team. And by the way, I grew up in an era where Nuggets games were terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like this isn't the late 90s, early 2000s when the Nuggets were happy just to win 20 games. Like the Nuggets have been, a respectable franchise for, the better part of 2 decades. And obviously now they're champions. Now we talk about them differently, but it shouldn't be this hard to put that team in that market on any level of TV. Those are real things that the league has to contend with. We're talking about streaming is going to be a big part of the league's package next year. Like this time next year, I think all the games or a lot of the NBA Cup games are going to be on Amazon. I haven't looked up. This is not my beat. That's Mike working on. Shout out to The Athletic. Like he'll tell you all that stuff. But I guarantee you this time next year, you're going to be like, yo, man, my internet was down. I missed the third quarter. Like I can deal with that in a football game. Like in a football game, it's like, you're going to have a game on Amazon Prime. You're going to have Al Michaels, telling you that last touchdown was significant to some. And, you're like, all right, cool. Like it was a football game. Like I can do so many of my household chores during a Sunday afternoon. You know what I'm saying? Like I can chill. Like Scott Hansen can break it all down for me when I need him to. Basketball is not like that. Like this ain't baseball where one swing can decide a game. You know what I'm saying? And also be the entire scoring for 3 hours. This ain't that. Like you miss 5 minutes in the basketball game, that's a 10-0 run right there. You know what I'm saying? How many times do you hear people who actually watched the game or wanted to watch the game, they'll wake up and they'll be, man, I thought the game was over. You know what I'm saying? They were down 25, third quarter. I thought it was done. And you just found out the next morning that you got something to talk about.
Yeah, I had Clippers fans saying that after the 26-point comeback this season against the Spurs.
Yeah, like I don't love the internet having such an influence on like how you're supposed to watch games because you can't watch them on TV or because like you're cord cutting or, because you don't even want to watch the games. You just want to participate in the conversation and, you heard some stuff at the barbershop. I hate that. But I think that we have to talk about the game as if we like it. You don't get a lot of that. I think a lot of people get a lot of run on stirring up fan animosity or whatever. Like sometimes, beat writers do that. They identify what's not working and tap into that. And, your engagement goes through the roof because you found some people angry about their recreation and leisure. Like that's our culture. So, your question, Adam, is going to be a conversation that I'm excited to see, not excited, but interested for sure about how it develops. When we get to the All-Star game, I'm hearing multiple All-Stars, guys who have played in that game, and like they took it for granted. Now that game is being taken away from you. It's basically first to 40 wins. Like that's pretty messed up, but that's what happens when you play an All-Star game. Like it's, like an obligation instead of an honor, like that's where we're at. I went to the last 3 All-Star weekends. Like you could have had a damn recital in there. Like there's no juice, there's no energy. Guys are ready to go home. Guys did all this media during a part of the time of the year where they're supposed to get some rest. On a human level, I get it. On an entertainment level, it sucks. So we have real issues. And even the All-Star, I know you didn't ask about this, Adam. I'm sorry. I still got ribs here. So, I'm still rolling.
You're good.
But like, think about it. When we grew up, All-Star was huge because we didn't have social media, because we didn't have, guys getting access to, we didn't have these
League pass
things. Right. We didn't have these things where it's like all these guys are here. Like the crux of an All-Star game in the past used to be, these are the best players. Also, let's see what it would look like to get them all doing, some high level basketball. Like competition was different then, now guys see each other all the time anyway. Guys interact all the time anyway. There's a different level of fan access, storytelling. We see that. We take it for granted. We see it more often. It doesn't hit the same. The All-Star game in the NBA is dealing with the same things from a competitive level. Like football is hard. You want to be hit, and no, you want to go to Hawaii, but you don't want to get hit. Like the Pro Bowl used to. I don't know how they used to play the Pro Bowl, but like, I mean, rest in peace, Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor used to beat punters up in Pro Bowls, but like everyone realized ain't not everybody built like that. So like the Pro Bowl is now a flag football game. It's like, hey, let's have a party in Vegas or Orlando. You know, I'm old enough to remember when the damn baseball game ended in a tie. The All-Star game ended in a damn tie, and they're like, that was a fiasco. Competing in an exhibition game it's hard. And it's even harder now because of everything else these guys are asked to do. And so it's a conversation to have, but it's also a culture that we got to look at.
Yeah, like you, I'm interested seeing where things go from here. All I know is this. Next season, I'm going to be listening to Noah Eagle call NBA basketball again on NBC, baby. He is La Murray of the Athletic.
And that All-Star game and all the stuff that comes with it will be at Intuit Dome next season. So it's going to hit a lot closer to home for people who, you know, around Intuit Dome already, I guess.
Thank you, Adam Silver, for that. And thanks really to Steve Ballmer. You build an arena, you got to get an all-star game there. Clippers will have it next season. He is La Murray of The Athletic. Follow him at La Murray. DNU is where you find him. La, you got to put out a picture of those ribs on on social media. I think that would do some numbers for you.
No, that's classified. Like I said, I told y'all I ain't got a good relationship with social media. So, you know, I'm an IRL baby. That's it.
Well, guys, do yourself a favor. For Christmas, you're getting everybody else gifts. That's great. Give yourself one. Subscribe to The Athletic and La Murray because his coverage of the Clippers is top-notch. He is the guy. And I think, La, can I book you for tomorrow night pregame when you're in Dallas?
If I make it there.
If he makes it there. La Murray, appreciate you, man. This has been another edition of Clippers Talk Live. I'm Adam Oslin. We'll be on